There we are. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special Halloween edition of Nerdle Soup.
Episode. Go ahead.
I am Reo, your jack of all fandoms, master of none, in my cute little bat outfit. Hope you like it.
And I am Donny. And together, we are celebrating Halloween. It's our Halloween spectacular, guys. And girls and others and whoever.
Hope you guys are enjoying the new layout we got here for our live streaming. Figured we'd touch it up a little bit and not make it so visibly generic. Hopefully encourage a little interaction as well.
Absolutely. We thank all of you who are joining us right now. We thank all of you, and especially a big thank you and hello to those of you who are new. We have some new listeners. Episode 1 of our show has made it to over 100 views. And after our last Batman Day episode, we were up to 20 subscribers. Rio, do you know what that means?
We're still not monetized?
Well, yeah, but do you know what else that means?
What does that mean, Donnie?
That means that we are only 5 subscribers away from being a quarter of the way to our first 100 subscribers.
And you can't beat that.
I'm just wondering who the 5 handsome, highly intelligent people are that are gonna put us over the top. I mean, could be anyone. Could be the unsubscribed person and 4 of their friends who are listening right now. It could be. I'm just saying. Could be.
It could even be you, random person, who's watching this without even signing in to Twitch or YouTube and anonymously watching us.
We know you're out there. We know you're watching right now. We know you're listening.
Smell you.
We can smell your fear on this Halloween episode.
Stop it, you're scaring me.
So yeah, thank you to all of you. And even if you're unsubscribed, we love you too. We love all of you. When you're as small as we are, every share, every view, everything helps. So thank you all very much. And speaking of our last episode, we actually got some user feedback, and we want to go over that.
Oh, we got some people letting us know how we did.
They're letting us know. They're letting us know how we're doing.
I always appreciate feedback.
Yes, guys, please give us feedback. We love it. We welcome it.
And also on that note, if you guys are tuning in through our Twitch channel, you can interact with us live on the stream chat, which should be, judging from my view of a Twitch channel, should be on the right of the screen. And you can just send little messages and we'll be able to see them and interact with you. And while live, in real time. So become part of the show, join our Twitch, don't forget to follow and or like if you're following it on the YouTube channel, as well as subscribe.
We're on a lot of stuff, guys. We're on the YouTube, the Discord, the Twitch. Join us on one of those. We know you have at least one of those platforms. Everyone kind of does. Join and interact. We'd love to nerd out with you guys in the comments.
Become one of us.
One of us.
One of us. Gooble gobble. Gooble gobble.
Yes.
That was so perfectly timed.
Yes, it was. Our ad-lib skills are flawless. This is why we're like, we can just go live. It's fine.
We're doing it live.
F it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live. It sucks.
Well,
But getting...
It's Halloween episode, you guys. It's scary. It's scary how well-timed and well-rehearsed we are.
And anything that goes wrong, we'll just blame on gremlins.
Yes. But getting to our user feedback from last episode. Mary says that we remind her of Don Imus from Imus in the Morning, which I assume was a compliment. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you very much, Mary. I do remember Don Imus. I actually grew up listening to him on my various road trips back and forth from my parents' houses. Although, I would say I would rather we be compared to the Don and Mike show, which were actually kind of rivals to Don Imus. And they just had a little more raunchier and funnier bits, too, I might add.
My dad used to love Don Imus in the morning. Every time he would be taking me to school, it would be Howard Stern, which was horribly inappropriate for a child to hear, but my dad didn't care. It was Howard Stern in the morning, it was Don and Mike in the afternoon. in his old beat-up car. May he rest in peace.
R.I.P. And
Yes,
R.I.P.
but,
I guess to Don Imus too, if we have to.
Well, sadly, yes.
Yeah. But
And,
yes, thank you, Mary, very much. I personally feel very honored for that comparison.
Thank you, Mary. We're not worthy. We're really not. We appreciate you. We also appreciate Alice, and Alice, Reo, you'll be happy about this as well.
Oh yeah?
Alice appreciated your Led Zeppelin joke from episode 2, so that's 2 people that are down with your Led Zeppelin joke.
Excellent. What was my Led Zeppelin joke? I forgot.
We were riffing on the cat thing. You made the whole lot of love reference.
Oh yes, about the depressed cat. Always sounds like a guitar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Meow, yes.
Thank you. I'm proud of that one.
Keeping us grounded, Kurt invited us to a losers club. Not the losers club, a losers club. You know what, Kurt? I wouldn't belong to any club that would have me as a member, okay?
And, I don't know, is there a punch and pie at the Losers Club? I might be inclined to go attend a meeting.
Better be punching pie.
At least a free hat.
Yes. Sweet references.
Yes.
You can't have the sunshine without a few clouds, you know? But that's okay. We welcome good and bad feedback. Now that I've said that, we'll surely get a stampede, but that's okay.
Now, if you would like to donate to the Losers Club Fund, we will start one up in their name, which goes directly to our own channel funding.
Yeah, we can start our own losers club. No homers.
Oh, maybe one homer.
Well, maybe one.
Just one.
Dave says we were dead on about how Batman started for most people. He says that in his opinion, Adam West was the man, and that the Batman movie in the '60s was awesome.
That was the one that I grew up with. Yeah.
He says that it's cheesy now, but back in those days it was just considered good, and I got to agree with him.
Totally. Yeah.
People now are a little spoiled.
Yeah, I was still kind of vibing on the Adam West stuff when the first movie came out. I am that old. I never actually saw the first movie in theaters. I probably had to wait until it got to VHS, which is a magical relic from the past, children, which magically displayed video, as in movies, on a television set, which were far fatter and more brick-shaped than they are today.
It's like 4K, but worse quality. But it was magical back in the day.
Quite magical.
Our number one Brazilian fan, Sloppy Ink, says,
Hello, Sloppy.
She says, and she's here with us right now, actually.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, but she says, I think your podcast is very fun to hear. I really love it. Sloppy, we really love you.
And we always love the feedback and the tuning in and the views. It helps us grow, and it nurtures us.
It fuels us. Give us fuel. Give us fuel, give us fire, give us 7 side to side, or whatever that Metallica lyric was.
The children yearn for Nerdle soup.
Your Mistake was wanting this, who has since changed her name in our Discord live chat, says that her favorite Batman memory was the end of the Killing Joke.
Comic book version or the animated movie?
She didn't specify, but both are pretty great. And
They are.
That's how you know. And that's how you know Batman is great. We talked for almost an hour and a half about Batman last episode, and we still didn't even touch that one. That's when you don't even play all the hits in an hour and a half. You know your characters had a lot of great stuff.
I mean, I doubt you can even fill like 9 hours worth of stuff about Batman. It probably goes even longer than that. How much everybody loves it.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
I mean, at this point, Batman is pretty much an American staple. Like it
By
is
the way,
literally an American institute at this point. Like Batman, just.
Oh, for sure. There's people that have never watched a Batman thing or read a comic, and they know his origin. I mean, come on.
It's Batman.
Yeah, he's Batman. His parents die. Yeah, we know.
I shall become a bat, which I did by donning this costume you see before you.
Well, he didn't become a bat. He became a Batman. I'm sure there's a version.
He started out as a bat boy, but he became a Batman.
And this is this next bit of feedback. I purposefully did not tell you this part off the air because I wanted to surprise you on the air.
Okay.
Because I think it'll make you happy. So, we hyped up Batman Returns so much on that Batman Day episode that your mistake was wanting this, and Sloppy Inc., they actually went and watched Batman Returns for Batman Day, and they both liked it. It still holds up.
Right on. As
Good
I've
for
always
you guys.
said, best Batman movie ever. I don't care what anybody else says.
Now that you guys are part of the Bat family, you are going to have over 8,000 back issues to read. I assume you can both afford to collect them individually. Let us know what you thought about them. We'll make it part of our 8,000 part series, Bat-tastrophe, Do I Still Like Batman? We'll see you in a few decades, okay?
We'll also supplement that with a Robins Anonymous support group for, the various Robins that he goes through.
And lastly, our first YouTube comment on that episode, Eric Cartman 2024, which is a great username, says, hee, nice PFPs, guys. Well, Eric Cartman 2024, you make us giggle like schoolgirls at a sleepover.
That's me giggling.
Flawless female impression.
Hey, I naturally feel like a little schoolgirl anyway, so.
I'd like to thank Rio's sister for guesting on the show today. Where did Rio go? I don't even know.
And here I am again.
Oh, you're back. Oh, thank goodness.
Yes. Well, Eric Cartman 2024, or what was it? What was the username again? Cartman.
Yeah, that was it, Eric.
Or Eric Cartman 2024.
Eric Cartman 2024. Yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoy our new PFPs that we have on display for you right now for our Halloween special.
It's great stuff. It really is.
I'm just like a bat. The B stands for bat.
Great job.
Thank you.
It says choo choo choos, and there's a picture of a train on it.
So let's be friends.
Ah.
Yeah, brought it back around.
And just a little bit of house cleaning from the last episode. Not a sponsorship, but an apology to Challenges Games and Comics in Atlanta. So
did we
had
them?
Not on purpose. We had some technical issues last episode, and that's why on that episode you hear us repeating some stuff sometimes, because we weren't able to listen because it was live. We weren't able to hear what was making it through onto the air and what wasn't. And some stuff that we thought made it through fine didn't, and some stuff that we thought didn't make it through actually did. And we were talking about the autograph signings happening for Batman Day, and the part about where and when didn't get through. Only the most important part. So our apologies to Challenges Games and Comics. And if you have one in your area, I don't know if they're just in Atlanta, but if you have one, go check them out. It's no longer Batman Day, but I bet they have cool stuff all year long. So thank you guys.
So to Challenges Games and Comics, we have wronged you. We are sorry. We wish to make amends.
Yes. If you sponsor us, we promise we'll do better next time. Please? Someone? Please. No.
But if you don't, we will be setting up a Patreon soon as well, full of fabulous prizes for different tiers of patrons that we will somehow figure out in the later future.
That'll go over perfectly well, I'm sure.
Exceptionally well. We're also going to put up a donate button for any kind of tips over here on the Twitch channel. We just have to finish getting our offshore account all set up and regulated.
I understand the Cook Islands are the way to go. Everyone's kind of onto the Caymans.
Yes.
Completely unrelated. That's a thing I read about once. But,
also unrelated, Swiss banks are apparently very easy to set up.
Well, that's good to know. You see, kids, what you do is... Oh, no, we should move on.
Oh, crap. I shouldn't have mentioned the Swiss banks. Oh, crap. I shouldn't have mentioned the offshore accounts.
Oh, crap. I definitely shouldn't have said the quiet part out loud.
It's getting too hot in here.
And lastly, we owe the Batwheels producers an apology.
The children's television show Batwheels?
Yes, so...
Which is not Cars?
Which is not ours, yeah.
Not Cars.
We wrote them... It is about cars, yes.
Yes, but it's not Cars, like Pixar Cars.
Well, that's the thing. We wrote them off as just being cars, but it's Bat vehicles. And it is that, but actually it is a little bit more than that. You do actually see the human characters, the heroes and the villains, at least sometime. There are Easter eggs and cameos and things that adult Bat fans might appreciate. So it's slightly better than we gave it credit for, and they sneak in education for the kids as well. There was one episode where the Batmobile was depressed because Batman was taking out the Batplane, and he thought Batman didn't need him anymore. And then the Batcomputer had to explain that Batman chooses whichever vehicle has the best attributes. And then they teach you what attributes means. Apparently, it is a noun or an irregular verb, and it means a quality or characteristic that is attached to a person, idea, or thing. Dude, I learned so much. It was great.
So the gist that I'm getting from this is it's basically like a Pixar movie about talking animals if every once in a while they stop focusing on the animals and then just focus on the small parasites that lived off them. Who also talked.
I mean, if you want to call the heroes and villains parasites, sure, I guess. I mean, there's an
Do they
episode where
support the proletariat?
There's an episode where Adam. There's an episode where Adam West cameoed. There's an episode where Batman calls out Mr. Freeze for the ice puns, which was hilarious. And you'll be happy about this, the Penguin's duck boat from Batman Returns showed up as one of the vehicles.
Excellent.
Yes.
If you got duck boat, I'm sold. You had me at duck boat.
Yeah. So if you're an adult Bat fan and you have a kid, check out Bat Wheels. It's slightly better than we gave it credit for. We underestimated it, and we should know by now that you don't underestimate the Batman.
We do, however, overestimate the availability of Max, or HBO Max, or whatever you want to call it. So, if you do want to, watch the, what's it called again? Bat Wheels.
Bat Wheels.
Bat Wheels.
Yes.
But you don't want to support David Zaslav, then yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Time to sail the seven seas.
The opinions of Rio do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Nerdle Soup. Anyway.
So I was told at least once a couple times by other individuals who are not affiliated with us.
No. One last bit of news, just because I found this funny. We have 20 subscribers now, right?
Yep.
But our Batman Day episode only had 18 views, which means that there are 2 hardcore Marvel fans in our midst who were like, nope, not watching that. So whenever we talk Marvel news, I better see at least 2 likes and 2 comments on every YouTube video. At least 2. More if we can get it. But who are you 2 anonymous Marvel fans? Show yourselves.
That also probably means that 2 of you aren't doing your part. This is a group effort.
We're gonna need all of you to leave comments so we can weed out who the 2 are.
Is not a nerd entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man at Disney. It belongs to the mouse. Get the proletariat.
Needless to say, our Batman Day episode went swimmingly. And this episode hopefully will go equally as well.
It went as swimmingly as a small starting out nerd-based podcast with simulcast on Twitch and YouTube can go. And we are quite proud of that.
Yes, we're doing pretty great.
We can only go up. We can only go up.
Yes, that's right. There's only room to improve from here. And tonight, speaking of improvement, guys, girls, whatever, it's our big Halloween episode. We're going to give you a Five Nights at Freddy spoiler review at the end. Don't worry, we'll warn you before we start spoiling it for you. So you don't have to click out yet. And we're going to have our top 20 horror recommendations for Halloween 2023.
Our own personal tier lists that we compiled ourselves of the best movies that we like watching for the Halloween mood all month long.
That's right. Now, your mileage may vary, and if it does, that's okay. Hit us with your top 20 lists in the comments, and if you don't have a top 20, what's your top 5, top 10? We'll nerd out with you. Let us know. We'd love to talk about it.
Also, over on the Twitch chat, Sloppy Inc. has said, "Hi, I love you really!" Exclamation point, exclamation point. We love you too,
Hi,
Sloppy. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, Sloppy.
And a special shout out to Hyde Hermit Studios, who are also tuning in to watch us. They're a fellow compatriot in the Twitch streaming business, and they have their own Twitch channel, which you can follow. And their members, Hoy and Kai, do some great artwork and commentary.
Shout out to our good friend Hoy, who goes by that and nothing else. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Hoy. And he's throwing crabs at us in the comments, in the chat.
I hope they are the crabs from Cocaine Crabs from Outer Space. One of the many, many knockoffs of Cocaine Bear that I can't wait to watch myself.
Now we just need to get that "You've got crabs, ass face" sound bit from Clone High and we'll be all set.
I literally just remembered we can't say the C word on YouTube, so still demonetized. But you know what? That's fine.
Crabs?
No, the other one, the white powdered sugar.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Coconut powder?
You know. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Daddy's just doing some coconut powder. Go away.
Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Which is not a sponsor.
Nor will they probably ever be, but that's all right.
Well, that's okay. We don't really care about monetization for this episode anyway. Although it would be awesome if you did donate.
That ship sailed, but yeah.
Dang it.
Oh, no one's donating. Oh, well. They're not falling for it. I mean, they're not, you know what, we'll move on.
Well,
That's
I think
fine.
we can say the Coca-Cola word after the first 10 minutes, I think is the stipulation for monetization for videos. As long as the video itself is not labeled for kids.
Yeah, well, YouTube, it's very frustrating for creators because YouTube, right or wrong, I don't know if they deserve to lose a lawsuit, but they lost a lawsuit a few years ago, and because of that, they had to make a distinction between YouTube and YouTube Kids. And it was made clear YouTube Kids is for kids, and main YouTube is for adults. So if main YouTube is for adults, why can't we say whatever the heck we want to say on here? I don't get it.
Yeah,
I would get it if we're... Yeah. If somebody from YouTube would like to answer that question for me, we'd love to hear it. Give us some feedback on that. Why is that the rule? Why is that the confusing rule? But that's a rant for another time.
I mean, how dare you accuse YouTube of having logic and common sense? I mean, come on.
Yes.
But anyway.
Anyway, as long as we're already in a bad mood about YouTube, we might as well get to the bad news of the evening, and then we'll get happy again. You know, it's Halloween time, and that means let's talk about death. Unfortunately, we have to talk about real death. We only like our death fictional around here. Can Father Time please slow down? You have met your quota for the year.
Sadly, yes, we have, over the past month, had a few very notable celebrity passings. Actually, the most recent was just yesterday, when sitcom legend Matthew Perry of Friends, and as Benny from Fallout New Vegas, was unfortunately found deceased, drowned in his own jacuzzi. Well, probably not his own jacuzzi, but somebody's jacuzzi still. So, sadly, he's the latest one to have passed away. Although, I will say, being found face down in a jacuzzi in Hollywood is probably the most Hollywood way to go.
It's pretty baller. It's pretty baller. And speaking of Hollywood legends, Suzanne Summers also passed away after a very long battle with breast cancer. Suzanne Summers from Three's Company. 90s kids will remember her from Step by Step. Nerds will remember her from American Graffiti and that George Lucas connection. One of the hottest MILFs on TV back in the day, back in the pre-internet days when all you had was your dad's Playboys and Carol Foster in a sexy nightie looking all hot trying to get down with Patrick Duffy and Baywatch reruns. That's all you had for female entertainment back in the day.
I mean, if you were really good at it, you could also have Heavy Metal Magazine, but you snuck that out of your dad's closet.
Well, I think that's a you thing. My dad didn't read that one.
Well. I'll just say it introduced me to French comic book artwork in the most enjoyable way possible. Yeah.
So yeah. Rest in peace, Suzanne Summers. That's an awkward segue now. And now Joyce DeWitt, Janet from Three's Company, whose name I blanked on in episode 2. She's the last member of Three's Company still standing. It's very sad.
So she's the last one to come and knock on our door. So Joyce, we wish you all the best and hope your years have been good to you. And everything else.
Nothing but health and happiness for all our favorite living people. And sadly, we're not done there.
Unfortunately
Keith
not.
Giffen. No, Keith Giffen.
The
From
Keith Giffen.
The Keith Giffen. From Justice League Comics, from Blue Beetle creator, from some of the Booster Gold Blue Beetle team-ups, from the guy who had Batman punch Guy Gardner once and knocked him out, which inspired One Punch Man, from the creation of the fictional Oreos, because they couldn't say Oreos, he created the DC version, Chocos.
Chocos, that was it.
Yes,
and he also helped co-create Rocket Raccoon.
Yes, he
and
did.
Was probably one of the best comedy writers in modern comics to date. And I'll say that with confidence.
Oh yeah, I don't think you're going to get too many arguments on that one.
I certainly hope not.
Also, Mark Gothers, Major West from Lost in Space, and Phyllis Coates, the original live-action Lois Lane from the 50s.
That is quite the legacy she left behind there. She's
Absolutely.
definitely been through many years and seen a lot of things. So glad she was able to make this journey with all of us. And, sometimes you just gotta decide when you're going to get off the bus, and she definitely had a good long run. So I admire Miss Coates. Mrs. Coates.
I'm not sure. A good question. If she was married, her partner was lucky. I'll tell you that.
A glorious farewell to the great Phyllis Coates.
Also, Piper Laurie, Carrie's mom from Carrie and from Twin Peaks.
Yes, the mother who is always worried about the dirty pillows.
No one's laughing at her now. She's in heaven. Life is good for her up there. And Burt Young, perhaps best remembered from the Rocky franchise as Paulie.
Yes, which is weird because I actually thought he passed away back in 99 or 98.
He struggled with health issues his last few years, but he was off the map for a while. Then he came back for Rocky Balboa, and
Nice.
then by the time Creed rolled around, they killed off his character. I think his health was just so that he couldn't do that movie.
Well, that's just
I assume that. I don't know if they asked him, but I hope they did, because I always thought killing his character in Creed was a huge mistake. I would have loved to have seen more of him. And
what.
Now we won't get to, and that's just a shame.
It is. What I actually have the best memory of for Burt Young is I actually don't remember him from the Rocky films. I remember him from Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield, where he played his chauffeur and bodyguard.
That's right, he was in that. Great, underrated comedy, guys. Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Check that out if you kids don't know it. Some of it did not age well, but
Probably not now.
But if you can stand that, great comedy.
Great cameo by Oingo Boingo, by the way, in that movie. And it has a very, very, very pre-Iron Man Robert Downey Jr.
That's always a nice bonus.
It is.
We also lost Richard Roundtree.
The great Richard Roundtree himself, Shaft. They say he was one bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
Just talk about Shaft. We can dig it.
Absolutely. And Diana Feinstein. Now, she was not a celebrity.
No, she was a person of political influence over on my parts over here in California. I believe she was senator.
Yes, she was the oldest still sitting senator, actually.
I actually remember when I was 6, living in Sacramento, hearing radio ads for her campaign, of one of her many campaigns.
That's wild.
Yeah, she had a lot. She had a lot of elections that I remember. So she was pretty ironclad. I'll say that.
She was also the first female mayor of San Francisco, apparently. The first woman elected to the Senate from California.
Yep. She definitely over here has quite a admirable legacy. If not, maybe a few hiccups with some disagreements, but what politician doesn't?
Yeah, I didn't bother looking up what side she's on or anything like that, nor do I care.
I mean, I believe she was Democrat, so.
Okay. Yeah.
But there's always going to be mudslinging no matter what.
Yeah, we're not a political podcast. We're not here to like take sides. It felt weird not including her on this list of celebrities because here's this senator who actually made important decisions in the real world. So it's just weird if we didn't put her in there.
Very true.
So may she rest in peace. And hopefully, the last one for a long time, Richard Mole passed away as well.
Bull from Night Court from 1980 sitcom, as well as Harvey Dent, Two-Face from the original Batman the Animated Series. Great actor,
Kids.
great voice. Guy is a legend.
Kids, this Halloween, pour a pumpkin spice latte out for your fallen homies.
Please do so. And,
All right, now I'm depressed. Let's get to some happier news. Can we get to some happier news?
well, what kind of happy news do we got here? Let's see what we got over here on switching from sad celebrity deaths to nerd news. Thank you. I hope you enjoy this impromptu graphic I made for our nerd news. News for nerds. Nerds news with a candy shell.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop the. You know what? Comment down below. Tell us what the name should be. How about that? A little interactivity for you people. Is that what you need to comment more? We're trying to work with you here. Give us something.
You'll have to
I'm just
excuse me.
kidding.
It's had a long month.
Yes, it's been a sad, depressing month. We love you guys.
We did.
Well, one celebrity that's still kicking, despite heart attacks and things, is Kevin Smith, and we got some news about him actually.
Oh, we do?
We do.
Oh.
He was allowed to continue making his current movie project through the strike, and he actually finished his first edit of it, and is considering submitting it to Sundance for distribution. And honestly, dude, I think he's gonna surprise people with this movie. It's called the 4:30 movie. It is set in the 80s, and it's about kids that are theater hopping trying to see a specific movie. And yes, and we'll see what the final edit is, but currently the runtime is 75 minutes, which to be a feature film, you have to be at least 60 minutes. This is his shortest feature film ever.
That's like
And the
Disney
fact that
animated movie length from like the 90s.
Yeah. And the fact that he's submitting it to Sundance, this really feels like he's going back to his like indie filmmaker roots with this one. And honestly, call me a foolish optimist,
You're a foolish optimist.
but thank you. Perfectly timed. But I think he's going to surprise people with this because this is his first start to finish project, post sobriety, post mental health treatment. And I really think it's going to affect his work, hopefully positively. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I would love to review it for the channel. And you can go on that journey with me if you want to, whenever that thing comes out. But I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yeah, it's good to know he's getting back into that indie director mentality that he had, pre Zack and Mary. Or pre Clerks 2. I mean, granted, Clerks 2 and Zack and Mary were, I would say, a couple of my favorites. But he definitely showed a little bit of a decline after those ones, after he started getting, regularly stoned with Seth Rogen. But I'm glad he's back on that Chasing Amy, Clerks, Mallrats type of creative juices.
Well, speaking of Zack and Mary, that's another bit of Kevin Smith news. November 11th is the 15th anniversary of Zack and Mary. And he will be doing a special screening of it at his movie theater, Smodcastle Cinemas in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. Or, if you're not in New Jersey, you can just watch the movie anywhere else.
I have it on Vudu.
There you go. You can watch it there for the anniversary.
It's a hilarious movie. You definitely don't want to bring your kids to it, though. It's definitely a very NSFW movie.
For sure.
Yes, but some great cameos in there, especially Justin Long.
He's hilarious in that movie.
I love him in that one.
Yes. And even before that event, November 3rd, also at Smodcastle Cinemas, an evening with the Russo brothers. Kevin's going to be doing a Q&A with the Russo brothers.
Oh, wow, he's pulling in that Hollywood weight right there.
He's called in some favors, got his buddies to show up at his movie theater, and I tell you, that at least someone is going to ask the Russos, are you directing Secret Wars or not? I hope that excites the two Marvel nerds that are hiding in our subscription. Again, 2 likes, 2 comments. We're talking Marvel, we're talking Russo brothers.
Feel free to donate if you support Marvel.
They said they would come back for Secret Wars after the success of Infinity War and Endgame and all that. And honestly, how do you not take them up on that offer? I have only seen like 3 names rumored for Secret Wars. I've seen them. I've seen I
Don't-
can't even remember the second one off the top of my head.
Please
Yeah,
don't
maybe-
say Taika Waititi.
No, not
Okay,
him.
okay. I mean, as good as
Yeah.
I mean, the man does great comedy and dramas on his own when it's not Marvel. And he kind of did a little gotcha there with Ragnarok, because Ragnarok was pretty good. Then Love and Thunder came out, and yeah,
The Thor franchise is really a roller coaster. It's insane how the quality just dips. But that's another rant for another time. The other name I saw bandied about was Sam Raimi, which I would love just because we all know that the Kang scene at the end of Ant-Man 3 did not go how Marvel was wanting it to go. The internet turned it into a meme and a joke instead of a looming Thanos-level threat.
pretty
But
much
if anybody,
all of their Kang plans didn't really go according to plan, thanks to other shenanigans outside their control. But still,
well, that too.
yeah.
But as of now, Kang is still on the books. Perhaps that will change in the next few years.
Maybe a
But
Doctor Doom.
I'd be fine with that
I would
change
totally
up,
be fine with
sure. Absolutely. But assuming they do stick with Kang, if anybody can take an army of Kangs and make it terrifying, it's Sam Raimi.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, aside from maybe 1 or 2 small little smidges in the track record, Sam Raimi's done no wrong.
I want Sam Raimi directing an army of Kangs, and I want just one shot in the movie, and it's never acknowledged or anything. It's one shot of all the Kangs,
Right.
and one lone Bruce Campbell in a Where's Waldo outfit.
Just sitting there amidst the crowd of Kangs.
Just sitting in that crowd, and you have to pause the movie and find him.
And no, I think it'd be funnier is if it was him, but he was dressed up as Mysterio,
That could work too.
right? Because everybody thought he was going to be Mysterio in like the 4th Raimi Spider-Man movie, which never materialized, by the way.
Honestly, give us that. We're dealing with multiverses and Secret Wars. Just have him show up. Just have him show up and fight that Spider-Man for a second.
And
That's all you
if
need.
we're gonna have Sam Raimi directing a movie about a Kang army, just call it Army of Kangness. Just to salivate the fanboys, for that one
See,
last little tease.
You see, this is what they're talking about. This is why they got to make the Kangs scary, because pranksters like you get online and say these things. Kangs of New York, a Kang in a pizza place. I've seen it all.
I like that, Kangs of New York. I'm gonna remember that one.
Yes, go Photoshop the poster. Someone already, I'm sure, has, but yeah.
Or if you want to go the
Also-
Little Rascals route, our Kangs.
That works too.
Just have like a little Kang with a alfalfa hair sprout coming out the top of his head, with a bow tie.
We have once again horribly dated ourselves, but that's okay. And speaking of horribly dating ourselves, more Kevin Smith news. The trailer for season 2 of his He-Man will be out sometime in November. We don't know when yet, but sometime. And he is nerd baiting us hard for season 2, dude.
Now, aren't they actually releasing yet another He-Man alongside that one?
I would hope they would be smart enough to give it some space between the two.
Because I know they got Masters of the
But yeah.
Universe Revelations, which is his big project, and they also had the He-Man CGI series, which is pretty good too. And had some great designs from Jeff Matsuda, I might add. And then I heard that there was like another He-Man cartoon coming out. I'm not sure if it was his, but it looked like it was basically kind of like a redoing of the original style of Masters of the Universe.
Do you know the title on that one? Because I believe season 2 is no longer called Revelation.
Oh, that might be it then. I might have been strung along and bamboozled.
Perhaps. Well, we know William Shatner's going to be in season 2, and we know he's going to talk to Mark Hamill's Skeletor. So finally, Captain Kirk and Luke Skywalker are going to talk to each other in a He-Man Kevin Smith show. And if that doesn't get your panties wet, I don't know what does. Seriously, I don't know. Does it involve pillow pants? I don't know. Comment down below. Ladies, comment down below, ladies. Explain to me how it works. I'm kidding. Do not do that. We might get in trouble for that one.
Yes, we definitely will.
Yeah.
I'd like to just note that anything that Donnie says is not affiliated with the general opinions of Nerdle Soup.
That would be great if I hadn't made that joke about your comment earlier. Now you're just stealing from me again.
But what I steal from you, I give to the proletariat. It belongs to the people.
I did it for the people. I did it for the rock. That's a wrestling reference. Where are my wrestling nerds at? Yes.
Wrestling.
Don't finish that sentence.
Wrestling is awesome.
Yes, it is. We're getting sidetracked yet again.
We are.
One last bit of Kevin Smith news, and this one you do not have to be in New Jersey to enjoy, although it is happening in New Jersey, so you could go to it.
Let me just make it a little more special.
He's doing an auction, also at Smod Castle Cinemas in Atlantic Highlands, December 2nd. It's going to last for about 3 hours. The time hasn't been announced yet, but he says you can bid online as well, although he hasn't said where yet. The art auction he did was through Bodner's Auctions, BODNAR''S. So maybe it'll be through them, I'm not sure, but he says he's going to be auctioning off props and costumes and celebrity signed stuff. That's December 2nd, so you might, and that might double as horror news too, depending on if there's any Tusk or Red State stuff for sale at that auction. So
I'm pretty sure you're probably going to have a whole lot of yoga hose or puppets for sale there too, in the bargain bin.
Well, and I should point out, it's not necessarily just Kevin Smith stuff too. He's done other auctions where like he would give away a Stan Lee signed whatever. He did one auction where he gave away a hat signed by Zack Snyder's Justice League because he hosted the red carpet premiere for that. So a bunch of them signed that for him. So like it's not necessarily just Kevin Smith and his buddies signed stuff. So yeah, you might walk away with some cool nerd and or horror stuff. December 2nd. Keep an eye on that, guys.
Sounds exciting.
I hope it will be. I might have to scrounge up some money myself on that.
Yep.
And do we want to? I guess we'll get all the nerd news out of the way, and then we'll segue into the juicy guts of the horror news, because it is all about horror stuff this month. But there's just a smidge of nerd stuff that we can talk about.
So I want to go back to the nerd news.
We'll keep it on the nerd news.
Okay.
Yeah. Might as well talk about some comic book news. Probably the biggest comic book news right now, Predator vs. Wolverine comic is selling out everywhere, and that makes me very happy. I'm not happy that I couldn't score a copy of it, but I am happy that it's doing well, because that means they might do more, and I definitely want that.
That was definitely a crossover I've been hoping for like almost 20 years now at this point, maybe even 30, because I was reading Wolverine comics. Wolverine was one of my main comics back in the day. And my dad collected a lot of Predator and Alien comics from Dark Horse, and that was some good stuff. So finally getting to see that dream grudge match that I've always wanted to see happen. I mean, because he already fought Batman.
Yeah, that one was a little more magical because it's different companies. Now they're under the same corporate umbrella, and I wanted to not be that excited for it, but when I saw and read what happens, it's like, oh, actually this is pretty awesome. I can't lie. Corporate ownership aside, I can't lie, this is pretty great. They're using Predator the way that they should totally use Predator. It's great. I
mean, one more, it's not that I'm ragging on the movies or anything, but yeah, it's finally good to see some proper usage of the Predator lore, and Predator gonna Predator it up.
And think about, all the potential for the future. Like, if this does well, we could get Predator versus Captain America, Predator versus Spider-Man, Predator versus Punisher. The possibilities are endless.
I could definitely see a Predator versus Punisher.
I knew you would like that one. I knew you would be sold on that one, specifically you. Yeah.
Honestly, I would say Predator kind of works better when he's matched up against, like, the more savage superhero characters like Wolverine or Mr. Castle or Hell, even Sabretooth versus Predator would be awesome.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah.
We could get all of this. You guys just keep buying that comic. And I will say their issue was better than the first issue of what DC countered with. But DC's counter program is pretty hard. They saw their Predator versus Wolverine, and they raised us Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Kong or Godzilla, but you got to be very careful how you do them in the comics. It's a fine craft how you do a good proper Godzilla comic.
I will say the first issue of that on the DC side, it was mostly just set up. So once they really get into the bulk of that story, then we can judge it better. But I'm excited for the idea, so we'll see.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, going kind of up a little tangent here, and since Godzilla is a monster and this is Halloween season, did you ever read the Godzilla comics from Dark Horse Comics? Which was also another property that Dark Horse had back in the day. They were really good with horror movie properties as far as their stuff went back in the 90s, I gotta say. And they had some really, really good Godzilla comics.
Yeah, just go off, King. Which was your favorite ones? Tell us about
probably the first one they did where he fought this giant, I think it was a Japanese statue called Gekidojin. Art Adams did the artwork for it, and he's a legend. I mean, if you want a guy who does like some of the best just monster artwork, Art Adams was your guy. And then they had just like a kind of a regular-ish Godzilla series. Like it had different little mini-series, but they're all connected by the same continuity. And it was some pretty good stuff. I loved it. I mean, I still believe we got the back issues somewhere, in the garage. But I mean, if you can track down like an omnibus of Godzilla from Dark Horse Comics, definitely check that shit out because it is so good. It's such good stuff. And then they jumped to IDW like some years later. And IDW has also been pretty awesome with their stuff too. And they have some of the best artists doing that stuff too, as far as kaiju stuff. So I would say probably the only real miss for Godzilla was probably during the Marvel era when they had him for the 70s. Because I mean, they were still kind of trying to figure out how to properly do Godzilla lore, keep it kind of faithful to the Japanese stuff. So it was. Yeah, I know a lot of people got good memories of the Godzilla Marvel comics, but I mean, when you compare them to Dark Horse and IDW, then you kind of tend to want to read those over those ones.
I just hope we get your pitch from the last episode of Godzilla with the tiny Batman mask and the Barry's logo on his chest. If they do that,
I'm writing a script. It's patent pending.
If they do that, we're suing. We pitched that first, so they better. They
No,
better
they're
not.
gonna have Godzilla be a Robin instead. That's their loophole.
The largest Robin ever, and he still gets killed.
By a crowbar.
How do we stop a giant Robin-dressed Godzilla? A giant Joker with a crowbar?
I would say a giant.
John Wilkes Booth?
No, that's a different franchise. You get like King Caesar, dress him up as the Joker, and then give him like a big giant bust-sized crowbar. Just go to town on Godzilla Robin.
There you go.
Yes.
So yeah, may both those comics not drop the ball and have spectacular issues and a great ending. And speaking of everything that Disney owns, there's a 4-issue Mace Windu comic coming, written by Mark Bernard. It's a 4-issue miniseries, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I'm not huge on it, but it's a news thing that happened. It's a news thing that came out of New York Comic Con, because with all the celebrities on strike, Comic Con actually had to be about comics again. That's crazy. I know.
Oh wow, they had to actually put up effort once more.
Yeah. They had to actually pay attention to the comic book industry. It's wild.
I mean, we actually got to talk about comics. What do we do? I mean, we're just a convention. We can't do that kind of thing. We don't know about comic books.
What is this, some kind of Comic Con?
The comics have conned you into covering them at your con.
This is a disposable media for children. No one likes this stuff, right? Right? Oh, they do? Oh, crap.
Well, I guess we're
So
just
yeah,
going to have to give them what they want.
hopefully that'll be good.
And,
Scott Snyder and Tom Hardy are also doing a 12-issue comic run, so that's cool.
and what's the comic called? Or do we have a
I
title
forget
yet?
what. Yeah, they were very scarce on the details, but
Oh.
those names doing a comic book, that's pretty cool.
Indeed, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, also, there is a new comic imprint being formed under Image Comics called Ghost Machine, which is going to be another brand new continuity-driven sub-company of the publisher, kind of in the vein of Wildstorm and the ones that were all starting out when Image first formed, because everybody, like Rob Liefeld had his little thing, McFarlane had his thing, Jim Lee had his, which was Wildstorm, and so forth and so forth. So they're kind of revisiting that formula for they haven't really done that in a good while, outside of maybe Invincible, because most of the time they're doing like the indie horror stuff, focusing on science fiction action, The Walking Dead. So it's kind of neat that they're going to be going back to the connected superhero universe as far as one of their subsidiaries goes.
Listen to the names on this Ghost Machine: Jeff Jones, Brad Meltzer, Lamont McGee. It is wild. New comic production company, which means if you're a creator out there and you can't get a job at DC, Marvel, or Wildstorm, you have a new place to go to get your comics made. So that's nice for people that are creative.
And it's always been nice that Image has always had kind of an open door policy for getting your stuff put out there.
Yeah. Now I know the first few they said are going to be through Image, but I'm assuming, it's a production company, so I'm assuming that eventually they're just going to make comics and get them through whichever distributors, which would be, I hope that's the case, because that would make more options for creators, which is always better.
It always is. Options are nice, and hopefully this will be the second renaissance of comic book creation, because we definitely need one, or a third renaissance maybe.
Yeah, Batman still accounts for 50% of all comic book sales, and nothing wrong with that, but let's get some new blood out there. Let's get some new ideas, man.
I thought Batman just accounted for 50% of all sales in general, of everything.
You would think so, yeah, as
right.
Popular as he is, but yeah, let's get some new blood in there. Let's make the next Batman. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And Flash Gordon is getting a comic for the first time in 20 years, so that's cool. I hope that there's a Ted Easter egg in there. Just a little bear in the background somewhere.
Hopefully a nice little Max von Sydow homage to him as well. Because he played Ming the Merciless in the film and all that. Everybody keeps forgetting that. It's more than just Mr. Jones who played Flash Gordon. He had some really good talent in that movie. And the Queen song. You cannot ever dismiss the Flash Gordon theme song from Queen. One of the greatest of all time.
Great song. One of the greatest of all time. You could just say that about Queen, period.
Well, in general, yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Even more stuff that Disney owns. Live-action Gargoyles show coming with Keith David, so that's cool. Keith, who doesn't love Keith David?
Absolutely.
He's going to kill it in that, I can promise you that.
Keith
say what you want about the rest of that.
Keith's been making some pretty good news lately and other stuff. He was actually part of the recently announced new cast for Has-Been Hotel, which is finally getting a release date over on Amazon Prime. It's going to be coming out in January. And he is going to be playing the voice of beloved character Husk, whom a lot of fans have been kind of gushing over. I'm a big fan of Husk myself. I got a shirt. And he's definitely going to be right for the role. Nobody was expecting the, guy of his capacity or, talent to all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're going to have Keith David in here. And he's going to play Husk, who's like one of the people that everybody loves, aside from Angel Dust. So it's exciting times for Keith Richards.
I want that alternate universe now. You had me on Keith David, then you sold me on Keith Richards. Now that's all I want.
And now we can imagine Keith Richards playing Goliath as well. Like,
take us to that, AU Disney. Give us that.
just like a drunken Keith Richards, like, oh, what's going on here? Sometimes it's stone, I'm not stone, and I've got wings, and there's a skull in front of me, and blimey, I'm gonna play them on guitar right now. And, it makes an asshole.
Thank you for joining us, Keith David. Now
yes, that was
back on the line.
That was my patented Keith Richards impression.
Flawless.
Yes, I'm actually probably going to be sued by him for identity theft now. So. And I think you said that was Keith David, not Keith Richards.
I probably did. If that's the case, we're definitely getting sued. You do not want to mix up Keith David and Keith Richards based on Keith Richards' admitted lifestyle choices. So our apologies to both of them for mixing up their names.
I doubt they listen to us, but still.
You don't think? Ooh, maybe they're the two Marvel nerds. Maybe that's it.
I can already see it, like, oh, Keith Richards, yeah. Huge. Look at the Spider-Man fan. Does he prats never talk about Spider-Man? I'm gonna just play my guitar again, singing how much I love Spider-Man. I'm gonna take all these drugs right here.
Keith, what do you think about the color version of Werewolf by Night? That's another bit of Disney news we have.
I've seen so many colors. I've seen so many colors that the human brain doesn't even comprehend them anymore. I don't even know what they're called. And I've seen things in black and white because my retina sometimes shut off, and then I just see different colors that don't exist. And I've got to take some more drugs right now.
You do that, Keith. Kids, don't do drugs. It's bad for you. You'll end up like Keith Richards.
I once slept with a werewolf by night.
Man, how was he?
He was crap. As was Mick.
Well, that's depressing.
I gotta bugger off. I would take some drugs and play my guitar. Yeah.
You do that, Keith. You do that.
And then we have a door shutting sound effect right here. I got to work on that.
I think we just, you know what, you guys listening to this, you just witnessed Nerdle Soup history. I think we just found our first character for the show.
I can do better.
Tune in next time, see if Reo does it better.
Probably won't, but I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
We're gonna have to find some way to work in Keith Richards again, or we just name him Richard Keith, and make things a little less lawsuity.
His long lost brother. Tune in to a future episode, see if Richard Keith shows up.
It's his evil clone from another dimension, who ironically also does a shit ton of drugs.
It's all yeah. Yes, the Richards canonical multiversal family doing drugs. That's a canon event. You can't change that.
We're going into the Richards verse.
It's like Uncle Ben dying. You have to do it every time.
And there's always a Mick Jagger who he hates.
Yes, that is also canon. Mick Jagger is his Joker in the.
I'd say he's more like his Eddie Brock, but
Well, sure. I mean, I would say Green Goblin. I feel like that's Spider-Man's Joker, but yeah.
True. Yeah.
Well, now we're getting off track.
Yes, we got to escape the Richards verse, and I'll go back to Werewolf by Night.
We got to get back to our universe. Yeah, there's a color version of Werewolf by Night coming. Werewolf by Night was one of those. I mean, that was one of the highlights of Disney Plus television. I really like that special.
Yeah, it was pretty cool that they just did like a one shot and they just didn't make anything else to ruin it. So I liked it. It was awesome.
You like what?
I just liked it. I just liked the fact that they made one single little one and done, barely an hour long special for one of the more obscure horror characters, and they didn't try to shoehorning it into the rest of into the MCU. And just, it's I'm a sucker for one shots and like little specials like that. And I'm always glad when they actually recognize some good, cult characters with a bit of a fandom following.
That's what Marvel and DC, but especially DC, used to excel at, was just a really good animated one-shot. Those animation departments, they killed it. They understood the value of a good one and done.
Indeed, yeah.
That's honestly, that's how it should be. That's how early Marvel did it. Yeah, every story connected, but every story for the most part was good on its own. That's what they kind of lost in their pursuit of constantly making more stuff with no ending because billions of dollars, and now they're starting to realize, oh, we should actually focus on quality again and not necessarily output.
Kind of going into shared universes and Marvel still, when they did this is just me kind of being an old school fanboy, but I think when they were at their best doing that was when they had the X-Men cartoon. Like,
the X-Men cartoon was great. Yeah.
The X-Men cartoon, the first one that was from like 1992, had some great, just everything X-Men related. Like they would like out of nowhere, just out of like a random corner, or like an establishing shot, you see like a really obscure X-Men character, or X-Force character, or X-Factor character, who appeared in the comics, had like one little storyline and disappeared, and they just threw him in there. It's like, oh yeah, we're just going to throw in like Strong Guy as like a character that Morph turns into out for no reason at all, or here is Toad, who is, for some reason, never an actual main villain. He just appeared one episode and does stuff you don't even really remember him doing in the comics. So forth and so forth. They even had a Black Panther cameo during one of the later seasons. Like it was like an episode. I think Magneto was like offering people, mutants, like safe haven in Asteroid M. So he had these like little rocket ship. They were taken off from an undisclosed location, I think somewhere in Africa, and there was like an establishing shot, and they showed like the launch pads or the the launching areas. And there's like a couple of rocks, outside of, the scenery. And just right from the center, there's just Black Panther just crouched on a rock, just looking at everything. And, the camera stops for a second, like, hey kids, Black Panther. Applause. Then it just keeps going back into the establishing shot. And that was it. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, like when they did stuff like that.
Here's hoping the X-Men 97 upcoming cartoon continues that tradition.
I'm really hoping they do, because it was so great that they're bringing it back also. I'm definitely hyped again. I'm feeling like a little kid again for X-Men with 97 coming out.
That's going to be great. Yeah, I'm going to have my Saturday morning cereal ready to go when that drops finally.
I do love, and everybody's probably going to agree with me, they brought back Cal Dodd to play Wolverine. Because for the longest time, he was the one voice I always thought of whenever I read the comics, or was playing as Wolverine, like playing pretend Wolverine. That gruff, rookie type voice like that. Yeah, and you can definitely tell Steve Blum kind of borrowed from that when he took over. And Steve Blum is definitely, I would say, up there as official Wolverine voice that you're never going to forget. But Cal Dodd definitely set the standard for that. And as an old school fan myself, it's hard to let go of the Cal Dodd voice, even though Bloom is phenomenal, and he rightfully should be just the voice of Wolverine, because they're both really great voices. But yeah, if you're an old school fan like me, you just grew up with the Cal Dodd voice. After they tried to give him like a weird Australian voice back in the 80s, no, Cal Dodd for the X-Men cartoon in the 90s was the Wolverine voice. You can never not hear that voice when you're reading the comics, when you're, just anything Wolverine related.
They brought back as many of the original voice talent for that show as they could.
They did, yeah.
I hope it's going to be good, and I personally am hoping for a Morph cameo. Like, everybody loves Wolverine,
I believe he is part of the main cast. I think, because I've seen some promo artwork for him, and they do have Morph in there.
That's great, yeah.
And they actually gave him his bald white head that he had later on, and like when he came back in the Age of Apocalypse comic book series, and that was kind of the look that he had afterwards when he was part of the Exiles. So I like
Well,
that they're
then
going with that.
Yeah, then I am definitely sold. He was my favorite lesser X-Man on that show.
Oh, he
and,
was, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see all that back. So very, very exciting. That's yet to come. And yeah, that's really the only X-Men news with the movie still paused. Although allegedly they are looking for the writers for the next X-Men movie. And boy, the MCU really has to get X-Men and Fantastic Four right. Those are the last aces they have to play
It is.
before they just have to reboot this whole thing.
I
Honestly,
think
or
they also recently just put out a Lego Avengers movie on Disney Plus um, with Wolverine. So it's almost
That's-
like it's their first official, non-official use of Wolverine in an MCU-related property.
that'll be exciting to watch. Yeah, we'll have to see how they handle that.
And he is voiced by Stephen J. Bloom, so that's awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, you know, Lego animated, I wouldn't.
I know it's not like a great newsworthy, bit to note, but I would
Well, no, that's
say,
fine.
yeah.
That's fine, but I was just gonna say, like, don't get scared that, like, oh my God, they ruined Wolverine. Like, Lego animated Wolverine is definitely not going to be X-Men '97 Wolverine. Is not going to be live action Wolverine. So
It's not even going to be the Play School Heroes Wolverine.
Yeah, context,
Yeah.
guys. Don't get scared.
Another thing of note, they have already put out action figures and toy sets for the X-Men '97 series.
Oh, of course they did. The toys come out 2 years before the dang show does now. I kind of hate it. And people look at the toy lines and grab potential spoilers and then spoil that for people.
I'm just
terrible.
happy that they're, this is like hardcore hitting me back with, nostalgia bits and, childhood core memories, because they re-released, well, first of all, they got the little tiny 3-inch action figures, which are like, eh. But then they actually have the Marvel Legends style action figures, which are like 7 inches tall. And they come with the backboard packaging in the style of the original X-Men action figures from back in the day. Like the same layout, the same graphics, the same character like on the side of the box, doing a little action pose with the big X-Men logo over the top of it, with the the clamshell, not clamshell, but the plastic bubble you can see them in with all the little stuff.
Now that's cool. That is cool. The Marvel Legends action figures, they always do it right.
Usually. Only drawback is, one, I've only seen those ones in GameStops, and two, they're $25 friggin' each.
And I bet you have to buy all of them to have the whole set, don't you?
I mean, generally when you make a set, yeah, you have to have all of them, but
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if it was like 15 or maybe 20, but I'm not gonna shell out $25 friggin' just for an action figure, unless it's really good and you can reseal the package. These ones you have to pull the packaging off. You can't reseal them. I mean, if you want to pose them, because I'm normally a two-figure kind of guy. I buy one figure. I buy 2 copies of each figure. I do this mainly with Ninja Turtles and sometimes Marvel, if they don't have like the resealable box like a lot of the more recent Marvel Legends do. One for display, it's still in the package, and then one that you can take out of the package and play around with or pose, set up on the drawer or on the shelf, stuff like that. And just them charging $25 friggin' for one individual figure kind of throws a big old monkey wrench into that intention and habit.
Do they not know the economy people are hurting right now? I mean, my goodness, yeah, that is quite a bit.
I know furries are part of nerd fandom, but not all of us have that kind of money. But
$100, you wouldn't even have the whole X-Men team for $100. If I'm spending $100, I better get if I'm spending $100, I better get the whole team for that at least.
Yeah, that's maybe 4 figures at the very most.
Well, yeah, that's how 25 times 4 works.
Yes.
But yeah, terrible. I am gonna need, however, a video of you playing with your X-Men versus Ninja Turtles. I think I speak for all of our 20 subscribers when I say that would be amazing.
It will be my theatrical presentation. I'm going to make the very most of it.
It will be our fan film, and no one will mistake it for the real thing. That
dramatic
is for sure.
live-action reenactment of Ninja Turtles versus X-Men. As performed via action figures, I will do the voices.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're gonna Eddie Murphy it.
I'm gonna Eddie Murphy that. I'm gonna Eddie Murphy that stuff. I'm gonna Justin Roiland. You know what? No, I'm not gonna Justin Roiland it because I actually have more than 3 voices I can do.
You definitely don't want to Justin Roiland it these days. You'll get in trouble for
No,
that.
you don't. No. But that's neither here nor there. Get to the point.
Into a future episode.
X-Men. Get to the point. X-Men toys are back. They're awesome, but they're butt-ass expensive. Yeah. Although you can get the Wolverine claws and wear them over at Walmart, from what I've seen.
Just take your $25. Well, that is cool. Like for Halloween, there you go. That's Halloween news.
Hell yeah.
Get the claws. Yeah.
You know, and actually, speaking of, checking out the spirit stores, they actually do have legit for shit X-Men costumes now, with like the Wolverine claws. You can like put them in between your knuckles and stuff like that. Hold them. They got the Wolverine outfit. They got like a Gambit outfit. They had like a Rogue and a Cyclops and a Storm. It's awesome. It's just.
Do the costumes and the action figures? I mean, are they 90s X-Men cartoon pretty accurate?
Yes, they are. That's the best part.
Well, that's perfect then. Yeah.
Granted, now they're all the children's sizes, but still.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair because, like, let's be honest. I know X-Men have had a long and storied and wonderful history, but when most people think of the X-Men, they think of that 90s cartoon. More people saw that cartoon than ever read an X-Men comic, I think.
That's pretty much what got everybody into the X-Men comics was the cartoon.
Yeah, so they're the ones you think of, let's be real.
Absolutely.
Them and Hugh Jackman, they're what you think of when you think of X-Men. Let's be for real with ourselves.
Jackman just revolutionized the whole Wolverine character after the movies came out. Of course, that was also long after the cartoon stopped airing, so yeah, it's only a given. So,
and we'll see more of him. He's coming back. Deadpool 3 eventually. That's happening. Yep. Eventually, not yet. Eventually.
And this, I'm not sure if this is rumors or hearsay, but apparently Taylor Swift is going to make an appearance as Dazzler?
I do not believe that's the rumor, but I do not believe that. Not for 1 second. She got photographed at a football game. First of all, she's dating a football player, but she got photographed.
I know everybody's been talking about that because
she got photographed at a football game with a bunch of people from Deadpool 3. And everyone's like, and somebody put 2 and 2 together and went online and was like, who's a Marvel character known for singing? Dazzler. Oh, she's playing Dazzler. My sources say, 2 and 2 is 4, yeah. But, A, she's dating a football player, and B, it's very, very likely that the owner of the football stadium was just like, hey, make sure you put all the rich, pretty celebrities together in the same VIP area, okay, Bob, the security guard?
And Ryan does do a lot of football stuff.
Yeah, so that's all it was. You put them in the same. You're not going to have Taylor Swift mingling with the riffraff.
I don't think Taylor Swift would care about doing a movie appearance as Dazzler or something like that. I mean,
she doesn't need them. She doesn't need the Marvel money. Her money killed all the stuff at the bottom. Her money scared The Exorcist into a new release date, for God's sake. I mean, she doesn't need their money. She made money off that concert twice. That's how powerful she is right now.
And that's before she even released it in theaters, and it's probably still doing, hype, until it was knocked off by Fazbear Freddy. Or Freddy Fazbear, whatever. Five Nights at Freddy thing. I think.
I am just imagining Mickey in the Disney offices being like, what DC got Lady Gaga for Harley Quinn? Oh, how quaint. We're going to buy the biggest pop star there is right now just because we can. Just to show them and remind them who we are.
Mr. Mouse, we can't afford Beyonce. And we'll get the biggest white girl pop star.
Yes, the second biggest. Fine.
If anything, Beyonce could probably buy them at this point.
I wish she would. I wish she would. She'd be less evil with them. Beyonce versus Taylor Swift. Comment down below. Who do you like more? Let's get the Swifties going.
No. Let's not get all Kanye West on here. Let's not do that. They're both
She
equally
has
great
best song
talents.
of all time. All right. But yeah, I don't
I
believe
cheer for Beyonce and for Taylor Swift.
Yeah, they're both great. They both got banger songs, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't believe that Dazzler rumor, but now that I've said that like 3 times, watch it'll come true and I'll look stupid. But we'll see. We'll
Now
see
Taylor
eventually.
Swift is going to appear like Beetlejuice. Now that we've said that her name 3 times.
Yeah. I mean, I wish she would. If she appeared in my living room, I wouldn't kick her out. I mean, I'm just saying. You know?
I give her a glass of orange juice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd ask her to sign an album for me, and then respectfully shake her hand, and then show her out.
Yeah.
Because it's a school night.
Exactly. Yeah. And then she'd still sing a song about you after breaking up.
Yes, she would.
But going back there a little bit, mentioning buying out companies like, Beyonce buying Disney. There is actually another legit rumor kind of going around. Not Disney, but their main rival, the garage of their ash, if you will, Warner Brothers. There is some strong, solid evidence and rumors about that they are being looked at, being purchased, possibly, and this is a big possibly, and a big rumor, Universal wants to snap it up.
Yeah, so this allegedly, Variety reported that Universal is looking at buying Warner Brothers within the next 2 years. And it's so funny because originally we were going to report the only bit of happy Warner Brothers news that was going around, which was that they put out this big press release talking about how we're this 100-year-old company. We're not going anywhere. We're expanding in the UK, 10 new sound stages. We're building this whole huge thing that we're going to use and rent out to other studios. The project won't even be completed until 2027. We're not going anywhere.
2 years later, you got David Zaslav locking the gate saying closes. Well, that's the end of me.
Yeah. So yeah, they put out that big press release that they're not going anywhere despite the recent financial troubles, and then that rumor came out, and it's like, we joked on a previous episode that are we even going to get the James Gunn universe in 2 years? And we literally might not at this point. It's very frustrating as a DC fan. So everybody get back on that Marvel ship because they're a little more secure.
I mean, does this at least mean if that does happen, we're going to see the Batmobile in the next Fast and the Furious movie?
That is a crossover I would love, yes.
I would buy that for $1.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong, Universal owning Warner Brothers, there's a ton of cool stuff you could do there. Hell, that could be a list we make all on its own, but...
That would unleash just like a gigantic mega Therion kaiju-sized, who knows what entity of potential new, crossovers and ideas, and finally people doing something proper with the properties and stuff like that, and
Well, I'm really scared it would be another Zack Snyder situation where they would buy it, and then James Gunn would be like, "Yeah, don't worry, guys, I got this whole 10-year plan where a couple movies in," and they're like, "Yeah, we just paid a lot for this company, so if you could give us results in like 6 months instead of 10 years, that'd be great."
Yeah.
And then they rush the product and it suffers. So I
holding out hope. I'm a little bit optimistic for this one. I gotta admit.
I hope so.
Honestly, it's the best case scenario for Warner Brothers right now, if you ask me.
I mean, I'd rather Universal buy them than Disney, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. 2 years is a long time. A lot could change. I mean, Warner Brothers did just have their highest-grossing movie ever with Barbie, so I don't know if that did anything to kind of give them hope, but we'll see.
We shall see. Yes.
Yeah. But
although I'm thinking Universal might be starting to track on that Barbie money with their recent horror movie release, which they are affiliated with, which is Five Nights at Freddy.
Yes.
FNAF.
Well, and we
FNAF,
both
as the
saw
kids will call it.
Yeah, and we both saw that movie.
We did.
And we will get to that spoiler. Quick note I want to add though on Universal. They will have to get, because antitrust laws are allegedly a thing.
Of course.
They will have to get permission to buy Warner Brothers, but Disney got permission to buy Fox, so it'll probably happen. But I'm just saying, if you don't want that to happen, there's hope that it may not. Oh, and last bit of news before we get to the FNAF spoiler review. Scott Pilgrim is getting a cartoon series, and most of the voice cast is coming back for that.
And I did enjoy the movie, so I am a bit excited for it.
That should be good. Yeah, that should be fine. So that's something to look forward to.
Absolutely. It's going to be on Netflix, I believe?
I believe so, yes. So it's still to come, so that'll be great.
So yeah, if you want to catch some more Scott Pilgrim goodness, you can either feed the beast by, subscribing to Netflix, or, yar. Maybe.
Yes.
As so I've been told through rumors and hearsay. It's purely speculation.
Yes. Now throw up that horror news thingy-mabob, because we got some horror news. We got the FNAF review, but we got some non-FNAF stuff as well.
Well, thankfully I still got the news graphic here set up behind the graveyard, so that kind of counts as horror news as a graphic.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll start the horror news here, and then just to warn you guys, we will segue from that. That will end the horror news with the FNAF review, and then we'll get into our top 20. So just be prepared. Just be prepared, guys.
Yep.
So we warned you that we're warning you now. We're going to warn you later, but you can't say we didn't warn you, okay?
Because we warned you.
So yeah. But yeah, horror news. If you're upset, if you don't want Halloween to end after October 31st, guess what? It doesn't have to, because Terrifier 3, the teaser trailer, will be coming November 1st at AMC Theaters. Terrifier 2 is being re-released, and there will be a teaser trailer at the end of it for Terrifier 3. And the director, Damien Leone, promises that it's not some 20-second BS thing. He says it's like 2-ish minutes long, and that people are allegedly gonna effing love it. And allegedly, it is gonna be Terrifier 3. Allegedly, is gonna be a Christmas movie. The Daily Mail reported that. The Daily Mail reported that, and they are not always the most reliable, but other sources that are reliable picked it up, like Bloody Disgusting. So we'll have to see if the teaser trailer gives us any indication of if that's true or not. But I am a big fan of non-traditional Christmas movies, so I'm down if Art the Clown wants to go Christmassy.
So you're saying you're down with the clown? Who was named Art?
I am. Yes.
Now we're if it goes, if this is executed properly, we're probably looking at like another horror movie to celebrate the holiday season, in the same vein as Silent Night, Deadly Night. Which,
absolutely.
I mean, that's probably like S tier Halloween horror right there, along with Black Christmas, but still, the first Black Christmas.
Absolutely, that original one, yeah.
Yes.
And shout out to Dave McRae's fan film as well, It's Me, Billy. That was excellent. I look forward to the next one of those. I actually am one of the supporters for his It's Me, Billy Chapter 2. So I'm looking forward to receiving that Blu-ray in the mail. Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Terrifier 3, November 1st at AMC Theaters. Not only will you get the teaser at the end of that, but while supplies last, you can get the first posters for Terrifier 3. So get to that theater early, because once they're out, they're out.
It'll be a nice little collector item, especially for the horror fans.
Absolutely.
Guarantee you'll see those being sold at horror conventions at those those poster dealers for like $30, $50, something like that, probably.
Absolutely, yeah. That's going to be a thing. And Damien Leone also said he would love to make the next Jason movie. We know Jason's Friday the 13th is coming back as a TV series, but Sean Cunningham is determined to do another Jason movie, which would be, whatever they do next, will be the 13th movie in the Friday the 13th series, including the reboot and the Freddy vs. Jason.
Finally living up to the title.
Yes. And at that point, they better stop. They really...
That or just do another 13 movies. We'll see how-
Once you organically get to 13, you need to stop. Yeah, I like your idea though. Just reboot it. Just reboot it and make it part of our 13 movie franchise. It's our Jason.
Just do it
JCU.
like they did with Saw. Just release like a underwritten sequel every year until you get to 13 of them.
They just start doing some Saw 10 in between stuff. You know, here's Jason.
This guy was really Jason's apprentice. Whoa!
Here's where Jason was during the events of Part 5. He actually was there the whole time. He was just over here. Here's
Slightly
how he
off
stopped.
screen.
Here's Jason. Here's Jason in between 8 and 9, growing out of that baby thing that they never explained at the end.
That was weird, wasn't it?
It was. Part 9, he's just a full-ass adult again. It's crazy. Well, I guess you could argue the Part 9 continuity might explain it, but that whole continuity is weird anyway. I don't know if it counts because it's a different studio, but that's a debate for the nerds to have. Do you horror nerds count the Jason
debate
Goes to
for
Hell?
the 13th heads. Or what do you call Friday the 13th fans? Is there like a specific name for them?
Would they be Jason heads? Hockey
Jason
pucks?
ears?
I'm not sure.
Like the Jason ears? Or,
Good
the
question.
the Vorhos?
I do like that one. That should be their name.
I think that's a subgenre for furry artwork.
That sounds like the Friday the 13th. That sounds like the Friday the 13th adult parody. Jason Voorhees, and
There you go.
he murders them with his thing between his legs. It's not a machete, but it'll get you.
It's an axe.
And speaking of not that, there's a Scream video game coming, and I tell you, Scream is long overdue for a video game.
I could see it as like one of those old school Nintendo NES platformers where you're like running around a house, leaping over like weird little floating bats and trying to outrun like a digitized Ghostface. But aside from that, if you're doing like a modern video game, it just feels like it's going to be like another Dead by Daylight clone, or dare I even say it, another Friday the 13th video game clone. So, but have they released kind of like how they're gonna present it, or is it just only been announced?
It was only just announced. They haven't announced really anything for it yet. I mean, Roger Jackson is back, of course, as the voice.
Nice.
But yeah. But with as meta as Scream likes to get, if they do commentary on horror video games, that could be really funny and entertaining and different. Plus, since it's a video game, they can do whatever crazy stuff they want. You could make, Sydney Ghostface. You could do all these blasphemous things that a canon movie couldn't or shouldn't do. You could bring back... Everybody wants Stu Macher to come back.
Bring back Dewey.
Do it in the video.
Let's bring back Dewey, yes.
Bring back Dewey, yeah.
He reveals himself at the very end to be Ghostface, like the Samus Aran revelation from the original Metroid.
Yeah, bring back Dewey, bring back Stu, bring back Jamie Kennedy as Randy.
Well, maybe not Jamie Kennedy. So.
Oh, did he get in trouble?
No, he's just Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, okay. Hey, I like Malibu's most. All right, that's one of my favorite 2000s comedies. You leave him alone. Plus, he's great in Scream. Everyone loves him in Scream. Not in everything else necessarily, but everyone loves Scream.
Yep.
But yeah, but I'm hoping that game will be amazing. And one game that's, well, I don't want to say the game isn't amazing, but it's not amazing the news about it. The Evil Dead game will no longer be updating. There's not a Nintendo Switch version coming after all. Ash Williams was supposed to be a DLC character in another game, and they pulled him just because they didn't want to conflict with the Evil Dead game, and now the Evil Dead game people are like, never mind. It's fine.
Was the game Dead by Daylight? Because that's the one with all the famous horror movie cameos where you can play as him.
I believe it was. It was either he was going to be in Dead by Daylight or like Fortnite, and then they.
I think he is in Fortnite right now.
Okay, then it probably was. Dead by Daylight. So.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So,
I actually have a digital copy of Evil Dead the video game. I got it for Xbox. It was part of one of their free games they had one year. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Sucks that they're not going to
Honestly,
support it or anything like that, though.
yeah, like it, not supporting it. That's just, and they say like, oh, the servers are still active and we'll still fix bugs and stuff. It's like, yeah, for now, that's the step before you just shut the whole thing down. It's depressing. Honestly, the whole Ash versus Evil Dead part of the Evil Dead franchise has just been treated so unfairly. The TV show got canceled before its time, and it's not their fault they were on Starz Network that nobody has or wants to sign up for. And now this with the video game, it's like
Sometimes it's just hard out there to be Ash Williams.
it deserves better. It really does, as does Bruce Campbell.
He does. But enough about
Very
that.
frustrating. Yeah, that's a rant for another time.
Speaking of Fortnite, we are actually finally getting some, worthwhile characters that make you care about it, kind of a little bit. Freddy and Mr. Michael Myers are, I believe, going to be playable skins in Fortnite.
They are, I believe, store thingy now for it.
Oh, nice.
I do not know, and this was a thing that made Mortal Kombat fans angry a few years ago. I don't know if it's Robert Englund Freddy or if it's Jackie Earle Haley Freddy, because I think
the guys who do Fortnite they're good at reading the room when it comes to fandoms, for the most part, and I'm pretty sure they're going to stick with Robert Englund Freddy.
I hope so. I really do. And some fans are mad about Freddy being in that game because, Freddy and what he does being in a children's game feels perhaps a little inappropriate. But, like, where have you been? They've been selling Halloween costumes of the dude. He was on MTV.
You guys do know the Xenomorph and Predator are already in Fortnite, right? I mean, come on. Among other characters.
Yeah, you internet people, I know the internet loves to complain, but y'all missed the boat on that one.
Clutching their pearls, getting the vapors, gasping.
Yes. But yeah, they're there if y'all want to go crazy on Fortnite with Freddy and Michael. So that's cool.
Not necessarily going to make me ever still go on Fortnite, but still, it's nice to know you can, snag them up if you ever do go on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe you can make them fight each other. And speaking of crossovers, there's a rumor of Chucky versus Megan. Don Mancini was doing an interview, and he got asked about the possibility of Chucky versus Megan, and he just said, "Stay tuned." Which normally, when he gets asked about like a Chucky crossover, he gives a respectful answer, but nothing that teasing. So
I mean, that's pretty good news if you think about it, right?
I mean, it could be, but honestly, I don't want Chucky versus Megan. She's too new, bruh.
She's the new hotness. I mean, she was pretty good. I mean, I loved her. I loved the movie.
She was good, yeah.
Would you rather have Chucky versus Buddy?
I mean, no, but I'd go for some Chucky versus Leprechaun. I'd go for some Chucky versus other horror icons. Megan, I don't know.
So you're saying just because they're short, they can only fight each other?
No, I'd be down for Chucky versus...
Are you some kind of sizist?
Because
I totally would love to see Chucky versus Megan. That would be a great fight.
Well, I hope you get it. You know what? They're going to take that Chucky versus Megan money and they're going to buy Warner Brothers with it. I think that's the plan.
I mean, at this point, they probably could, given how, great Warner Brothers is at handling everything.
They make Chucky versus Megan just to see if it outdraws Batman versus Superman. That would be hilarious.
Then we got the prelude to, like, the Chuckyverse, where you got, like, a Justice League of Chuckies and Megans and other killer robots and dolls.
Oh, they already missed the opportunity for multiple Chuckies. They had that on season 2, and then they just completely wrote that out. And it's like, no, you could have gone somewhere with that. You could have done like 70 different Chucky crossovers, and it all would have been canon, but it all could have also just been never talked about again. They set up a potential for crossover this season too, and we'll have to see how that plays out by the end. So, and maybe that's how they will lead into Chucky versus Megan. We'll have to see.
Hoping they bring back Devin Sawa for it too. I might add.
Oh, he's been back every season so far, and he keeps getting killed and then coming back as a different character because everybody loves him. And we don't know his fate yet in the current season, but based on the history, I'm expecting Chucky to perhaps take him out in the second half. But I could be wrong. We'll
Here's
see.
hoping.
And
Devin's a great
yeah,
guy.
yeah, if Devin Sawa, that would be great if they just bring him back every time now as a different guy.
And wasn't that kind of what they were already doing?
Well, yeah, but like in every Chucky thing going forward, that would just be hilarious. It's Chucky versus Megan. He's like the waiter at the restaurant or something. He walks in, gets stabbed by both of them. That could be great.
Yeah. He's like the new Bruce Campbell for the Chucky franchise.
That would be fun.
He's Don Mancini's fake Shemp.
That is just lovely to think about. But yeah, we'll have to see. Second season of Chucky still to come. Possible Megan crossover. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yep.
So, finally done with all the news right there. So let's get to our big chunks of the soup. Our big two main ingredients everybody's been waiting for.
Hopefully, knock on wood.
Hopefully, knock on wood, yes. So, we finally got to the Five Nights at Freddy movie. Boop.
We are talking, first of all, we're talking spoiler reviews, guys. I know some YouTubers, they do non-spoiler and then spoiler later. We don't have time for all that. We're getting straight into the spoilers. So if you haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's, the game or the movie, if you haven't played the game, click out of here now. Go watch the movie.
Are you honestly expecting people who watch Twitter people who watch Twitch or YouTube to not have played Five Nights at Freddy? That's basically what consists of all of YouTube's Let's Plays.
I'm just obligatory warning for the one person who's going to be like, you didn't tell me. If you haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's, go click out of here, go watch it and/or play the game, and then come on back. Your replay view is appreciated. But yeah, we both saw Five Nights at Freddy's. And,
we did. Yep.
Rio, you just saw it today. Your memory is fresher than mine, so you go ahead and what did you think about it?
I mean, it was pretty good for a PG-13 horror movie. Like a lot of people are saying, it definitely felt like more than you expected. Granted, it was still pretty tame on the kills. There was one kill in particular that kind of took me by surprise. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could put that in a PG-13 movie. So, and spoilers, it's where the one girl gets chomped in half. And totally was not expecting that. I kind of thought she was going to be like a more sympathetic side character that was going to live and, help him out. But nope. Just got chopped in half by Freddy. Which, still a pretty good kill. But all in all, I would say, I mean, for a movie that has Freddy's name in the friggin' title, Freddy Fazbear himself really didn't do jack shit. Like, he glares at you a couple times, but all the other robots do their things. Freddy didn't do nothing until it turned out he was like possessed. The ghost boy that possesses Freddy's animatronic did more than Freddy himself. I mean, probably I would say the MVP here would actually be either Foxy or Bonnie, because they actually kind of did more of the action, did all the dirty work. I mean, Chica and the Cupcake did like one or two things, but Bonnie and Foxy kind of had the majority of the kills and the activity and the screen time. I know the acting was pretty good, and major props to Matthew Lillard. I mean, he's horror's sweetheart at this point, and he was probably the best part of the whole movie. What minimal time that he had on there, but do you want me to talk about the big revelation with him, or do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about your opinion first about it? Or?
Yeah, I can go into mine. Yeah. So overall, you liked the movie, yeah?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you play the game at all? Did that influence your?
I never played the game. Matter of fact, I hated the game. Like, just out of professional jealousy, I was just that kind of petty. That a game that started off what felt like a friggin' freeware, like downloadable Flash game, just turned into this giant mega franchise that's raking in billions. And I kind of had sour grapes since then. But I did pretty much enjoy the movie. I will say, though, around the middle of it, where, you know, the guy's Mike's his little sister comes in to the restaurant and he meets the animatronics, and they're all of a sudden, oh, they're cool friends, they're hanging out, they're having fun. It's like, did this just turn into like another version of the Garbage Pail Kids movie or something? Because I don't think that was how the general lore was supposed to go, but I don't know that because I never play the games, because I'm a petty sour grape when it comes to the Five Nights at Freddy games. So I don't know.
Well, that is...
It did just feel kind of out of place that the animatronics that were supposed to be like the killer robots are all of a sudden, you know, playing with the little girl, and they make like a little musical montage of them having fun and hanging out with the security guard brother and all that.
That was pretty stupid. If you know the animatronics and you know what they're capable of, why, and you have this whole issue because, you know, your family member was killed and all that, why would you let them near your sister like that? That was very stupid of them, character-wise. But yeah, all in all, this movie was okay. Yeah, it was just okay, and you know, they were hoping to make 3 of them, and still are, and probably will get to at this point because it's doing very well at the box office.
Oh yeah, it's already ranking in gangbusters for like within the first 4 days of it opening.
It's doing the numbers that Exorcist Believer thought it was gonna do, and that didn't happen. So yeah. This movie is a very interesting example of making a movie for fans versus a general audience, because there are moments in this movie that there are so many little Easter eggs and little things that fans will just go crazy for that casual viewers won't notice or understand or care about. For example, Matt Pat saying theory in the movie. Nerds are going crazy, but me saying Matt Pat said theory in the movie, a non-fan is going to hear that and go, what? What is this old crazy man talking about right now? If I go crazy because Mike woke up at 6 a.m. It's 6 a.m. Fans are like, oh, that's the time, and you know, non-fans are like, yeah, so what?
Groundhog's Day had 6 a.m. It's nothing special.
That too. Yeah. So yeah, obviously the first like half hour of this movie, I was totally in.
It was a pretty good investment as far as, you know, horror and tension went.
I thought the atmosphere was good for the first half hour. The opening kill scene reminded me very much of a PG-13 Saw if he used animatronics for some reason all of a sudden. Of course, they already made a PG-13 Saw. It was called Escape Room. Take that, Escape Room franchise, who's made more money than I ever will. But yeah, the first half hour of this movie was great. The atmosphere was good. It was a good setup. They got through the exposition backstory of the game pretty quickly. And it was Matthew Lillard's return to horror, as you said. And who doesn't love seeing him in a horror movie again for the first time in a long time?
Especially when he does a, spoiler alert, villain revelation.
Yes, he did. But also, as you said, definitely not enough Matthew Lillard in this movie. That is definitely the biggest points off for me, because for me, he was the part I was most looking forward to seeing again. But
he's horror's golden boy when it comes to, you know, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but funny enough, if you're not a fan of the game, I think you're actually gonna be more invested in the story, because there is that well, now you won't be invested because we're spoiling it for you, but hopefully you're not listening to this, because we warned you to click out in time for the spoiler review. But there is a mystery in the middle of this movie when Abby, the little girl, is talking about how, oh yeah, these are my friends, and you're kind of wondering, well, is it really Ghosts in the Machines? Is it animatronics run amok? Is she mentally ill? Because they teased that possibility earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What is actually going on here? And if you're not a fan, you're gonna be captivated and hopefully interested in that. But if you are a fan, you're like, yeah, no, it's William Afton. I know where this is going.
Yep. Well, yeah. And from what I've seen from doing a couple of researches on Five FNAF lore videos, that we are just barely scratching the surface here from everything. But it's nice that they kind of super condensed it into, this. Because I know there's going to be like a ton of other stuff they're going to open up on in the sequels. And we know there's going to be sequels.
They condensed what they could, and they added onto it a little bit for movie purposes, which is great. And honestly, and they did not go in order, which I was a big fan of. The Sonic movie made the same smart move, where they're not just doing the game canon in order, because that way fans are on their toes, not necessarily knowing what to expect all the time. So that was a nice touch.
It was.
There are things in this game that they don't bother explaining to the general audience that fans already know, and I think that is hurting a lot of the audience score. This movie is suffering from a lot of the same effect as the Mario movie, where critics kind of hate it and say, oh, it's PG-13, it's just for kids, it's not great. But if you're a fan of this movie and the lore and all, this movie's probably about an 8 out of 10 for you, only because it drags just a little bit in that middle.
Yeah.
Little too much dream sequence stuff in there. You probably could have cut that down and we would have gotten the gist of it. But all in all, I had a good enough time, but I watched it on Peacock, and well, I'm glad I did, because I could see not being happy if you paid theater prices for this one.
I mean, you definitely don't want to get a brawl in the movie theater after watching it.
But they're definitely going to make more, and because of how the games are, I am assuming they will definitely be bringing back Matthew Lillard, and more Matthew Lillard is A-okay by me. I do wish it wasn't PG-13. Not that PG-13 horror can't be good. It can be, but this one didn't. It just didn't have enough kills for my liking. Didn't have enough gore in there. And hopefully they kind of up that a little bit in the sequels. I was also disappointed with the soundtrack. Considering that the pizzeria was supposed to be from the 80s, I was really hoping for a better 80s soundtrack. But that's just my selfish.
2 small 80s hard rock bangers, but that's about it.
Yeah, but
maybe 2.5.
Yeah, but that's just my selfishness talking. Minor nitpicking. So
Yeah.
all in all, a fun enough experience, but I would recommend waiting for it on streaming there, and or buying it digitally later if you're gonna buy it. But I had a good enough time, and I think fans definitely will.
Yeah, I'll say Blumhouse was definitely the best choice for this, as far as production companies go.
I thought Blumhouse was the best choice for it myself, but
Blum, same difference.
Yeah, well, it's not. Blumhouse is the Asylum knockoff version of Blumhouse. That's the Great Value Blumhouse.
Spelled Bloom house.
Yes, that's how they would be spelled. Yes.
But yeah, I would definitely give it a solid 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8.
Well, there you go. And for somebody who hated the game to start with, that's about as good as a ringing endorsement as you can get for the movie version.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So hey, yep.
I mean, it's a lot of people have said this, but it is a pretty good gateway horror movie for kids. I'll say that.
I mean, every PG-13 horror is a gateway horror for kids. Actually, I mean, it's
this one is definitely going to be that, though. I mean, because. Yeah. From the box office numbers, that's kids getting their parents to take them to the theater, and given how much of a strong foundation and legacy this game series already has, kids are gonna, once they see the movie, they're gonna start getting into more horror movies in general, and that can only be a good thing.
That will be the horror renaissance. I hope it continues, because I am a fan of it, not just at Halloween, but all year long. So that'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie is the Megan of this year for sure, and may they continue to have great success. And who knows what this will mean for the game franchise? They might keep those games going too, which I suppose is also a good thing if you're a fan of those.
I think they concluded the lore with the more recent edition, but I think they kind of rebooted it or something like that. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, I'm sure they did, but there's always a way back, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Five Nights at Freddy's, pretty darn good horror movie.
And
And
speaking
pretty
of
good video game.
numbers, yeah. And speaking of numbers, we got our top 20 Halloween
Yes, we are
recommendations for y'all.
officially at our horror movie tier list. Finally getting into it and getting you guys all the lowdown of what we personally have recommended for Halloween viewing. So that's going to be
As
our
we
big
said.
part to wrap up tonight's special. And so we present to you our Halloween Nerdle Soup tier list.
Yes, as we said, your lists are going to vary, and that's okay.
Yep.
Hit us with yours. We want to know.
Now, we each had our own pick of top 20 titles. A few of them were kind of coinciding, so that kind of makes it a little more streamlined.
Yeah, that's
So-
okay. That's okay. I mean, look, these movies are great for a reason. You're going to get a few matches in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as rightfully you should, because, some of these are pretty timeless. So,
For sure.
so
you wanna drop it first? Drop yours. Drop it like it's hot.
okay,
We're
I'll
gonna.
start
By
my-
the way, I guess we should say we're gonna count down from 20 to 1.
Yeah.
And I guess should we spoilers for potential movies you haven't seen? But I mean, it's kind of on you.
I would
I don't
say keep some of them spoiler free, just so people will still be able to be surprised when I watch them.
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll try to avoid
Yeah.
spoilers on these. But,
So first I'm going to do my 20, then you do 20, then I do 19, then you do 19. We're going to each give our own little spiel, how we feel on it.
Yep, that's how that'll go. And yeah, and guys, girls, whoever, yeah, definitely check these out. If you haven't seen them, definitely do go check them out. Not just because of our recommendations, just
Yeah.
because we turned people on to Batman last episode. Maybe we'll do the same here. I don't know. And if you
Never
do
know.
watch it based on, and if you do watch it based off of our recommendations, let us know that too. We'd love to hear about your first time watches.
Actually, you know what? Since this is a tier list, not necessarily a countdown list, I think we can just kind of go through what we got and kind of rank it by how awesome we feel that it is.
Perhaps, yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, actually, no,
Probably
we'll
shouldn't.
do both. We'll do both. So starting off,
We have a list. We made lists.
we
That's
do
the
have
important
lists,
part.
yes,
Yeah.
of our top 20 horror Halloween viewings. For me, I started off with a nice little classic, 70s cult blaxploitation horror classic, Blackula. I'm just a fan of that. I'm a fan of the guy who plays Blackula. He was the king of cartoons in Pee-wee's Playhouse back in the day. His name escapes my brain, unfortunately, at this very time when I'm trying to give him props. But he's always been awesome. So, and it is a 70s movie, so there is some little datedness to it. But I'm not going to say it's D tier. I would definitely say, I don't know, have you seen Blackula yet?
I did see it before back in the day. I don't remember enough to properly rank that one. Why did you go? I'm just curious. Why did you go Blackula as opposed to perhaps Blade or another black icon of
It was a vibe, and Blade is awesome, but I don't necessarily count that one as a Halloween movie. Whereas Blackula, badass, king of cartoons himself, and just, I'm always a big fan of the campier horror movies and ones that don't get enough love as they probably should. And this one definitely ranks up there as one of the best cult horror classics. It has a pretty damn good soundtrack to it, also, I might add, and definitely is one of my favorite of the blaxploitation genre. I've got a couple that I enjoy out of that, but this one definitely is one of my favorite horror ones. So I would probably rank that one for the '70s feel, and the soundtrack and just overall presentation of it. C, but it's a higher area of the C class, so it does potentially cross over into lower B class, as far as my opinion of it goes. So it's kind of like that juicy little like midway range between C tier and B tier horror movies. Just that we can't really do that with the list here.
So, for my number 20, I went with another 70s horror classic, tail end of the 70s. I went with the Amityville Horror.
Nice choice.
Yes. Amityville, say what you want about the public domain sequels, but this series has set horror records that are not likely to be repeated again anytime soon. Let me just read you some of these stats, okay?
Okay.
50 plus movies and counting, plus their first crossover they just did, okay?
Did the Amityville Horror meet the Leprechaun?
I don't want to say with which franchise, because that's a spoiler for that other franchise, but if you know, you know.
Okay, good to know.
But I would love that. I like your idea of Amityville versus Leprechaun, and I would like to subscribe to your newsletter.
I'm getting started on that script too, then.
Yeah. But yeah, 50 plus movies. The shortest gap in horror 3 times in a row, which is just hilarious. Yeah, which is just hilarious to think about. Because let me tell you this one, okay?
Okay.
This was their first shortest gap, okay? August 2nd, 2016. And then the next sequel was August 5th, 2016.
That is quite the turnaround time.
It is, and
eat your heart out, Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
I'm just imagining the characters at the end of that Amityville movie. Second, I forget which one it was because there are so many of them. But
yeah,
I just imagine them being like, "We did it. We stopped the evil once and for all." And then 3 days later, the evil was like, "What's up? No. I went to Atlantic City for the weekend. You thought you stopped me?
Just
That's
see the
funny."
evil step off the bus holding 2 briefcases of luggage.
The evil's like, no. I had to go to a funeral. It's funny because the house kills people, you see.
Yes. And apparently has a doorway to hell in the basement, according to the first one. And like a giant evil dog or evil pig demon.
It has a bunch of evil possessed objects in it. A lot of the sequels very wisely were like, yo, how do we get this out of its New York setting? Possessed object. That way we can film it wherever.
Just like Annabelle.
So that was pretty brilliant.
There you go. So as far as the tier goes, where would you place that as far as ranking?
Oh, but I'm not done with the stats yet, brother.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Look at this, all right? Most sequels in a year 3 times.
Were they all from the same production company, or was it like from different production companies?
That's all different ones, but still.
Nice.
You're not going to get this anywhere else, 4 films in 2016, 4 to 5 films in 2021 because the original release date was iffy, and 9 to 10 films in 2022. And for you horror purists that want your horror movies released only in October, this franchise has 6 October releases. Again, that's better than a lot of these other. You're gonna pay homage to this great record-breaking horror franchise, you gotta go with the original.
Absolutely.
And yes, and for that one, I'm gonna put it in the B's.
The B's?
Yes.
Or whatever. The B's. The B's are in my mouth.
Yes. Or whatever we're calling the B tier.
I need the B's.
Yes.
Nicely done. 50 friggin' spin-off or sequels. I didn't even realize it had that many. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
I know it was kind of public domainish, but I didn't think everybody was taking that much advantage of it. Jesus.
Yeah. And the way people hoard their IP now, I mean, that's going to be the last public domain horror in a while. Yeah, the only ones that can compete with that are your like Godzillas and Draculas and Frankensteins, you know.
Yeah, and that's not even counting a dark universe. Oh.
Yeah. James Bond is up there too. Isn't he in the 30s by now? When are we getting James Bond versus
I
Sam
think
Neill?
it was like a 26th or 27th film was this last one.
He's got to be up there, yeah.
He's got to be. So.
Bond 30 is going to be fun to nerd out about when that happens.
Absolutely. Well,
what was your number 19, brother?
Number 19, I have what I would say would be probably a good essential staple point of any Halloween viewing. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
The one without Michael Myers.
The one without Michael Myers, yes. The black sheep of the family, if you will. Of the entire franchise. And, you know, I know there's no Michael Myers, but by itself, it is a damn good, you know, Halloween horror movie. I mean, we all know the basic plot, you know, this evil, corrupt, you know, corporation wants to kill all the kids, and with spooky masks, with little bits of Stonehenge chipped in there, and it's got like seriously like one of the best earworms you can play for Halloween season. That little jingle they always have going on. Pretty much, you just make that your ringtone, you know, during the entire month of October if you want. So, and
that song is definitely the highlight. For sure.
It is. Just a lot of great, memorable imagery and plot points. I might also point out for that movie too.
And the masks are cool.
The masks are awesome, and they actually have sold masks. Copies of the masks at like Spirit or Hot Topic or Spencer's, and you want to get them, but at the same time you're feeling iffy if you really should put them on while you're watching the movie because you don't entirely know. You don't entirely know. You don't know if it's going to melt your head and turn your head into like a bunch of snakes and bugs. I mean, in theory.
Problem. Now, do you buy? Here's the question: do you buy all three for yourself and swap them out, or do you get two friends and go in on it together as like a Halloween pairing?
Well, as I've said before, I'm a two-figure kind of guy, so I would probably buy two of each, one to have like on the wall, and then one to wear, possibly share. That also rhymes. So.
You know what you do? You if you do open one of them, you save that silver shamrock tag, you rip that off, and you reattach it to a Michael Myers mask.
There you go. Now you're thinking with portals there.
That's the Halloween multiverse. Let's get that going.
So, is this one okay to spoil? I know that's kind of like one of the big things about this one for the ending.
The Halloween 3 ending? I mean, yeah, I think it's fair. It came out in the 80s. If you haven't seen it by now, you're not in a hurry.
True. Okay. So, should we spoil this one? Which is kind of one of the reasons why I like it so much?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. The hero fails. Okay? I mean, they end up actually going off with the plan to activate the little shards of Stonehenge and kill all the kids that watched the little presentation on the television at the very end. They don't show it, but they show it as it's starting, and the guy's yelling on the phone, stop the footage, and no, and you just keep hearing this thing going on and on and on, and it cuts to black, because he failed. And you don't want to see the shit show that was going to happen after that, because it's like tons of thousands of kids all over the street, probably with melting heads and spiders and snakes and other stuff crawling out of the masks. It just, you don't expect that kind of a downer, especially for, you know, kids being the victims. So I do appreciate the guts it took for that writing. I mean, that's really kind of what I would say distinguishes it, especially from, you know, the other Halloween movies, aside from the lack of Michael Myers, was just the hero fails. Like, the bad guys win in the end, technically.
That's true. Definitely not enough heroes failing. It really keeps you on your toes, especially after 2 movies of Michael being stopped.
Yeah.
It's a very different flavor. It's a very different journey. And I would say bonus points to Halloween 3 because, and actually the first few Amityvilles have this advantage as well, It's also a novelization, which means there's also an audiobook version of it. So if you're
Ooh.
tired of watching, Halloween movies at Halloween time, maybe you want to put a little pepper on your steak, you can listen to the audiobook in your house and scare your party and your friends and stuff that way.
I mean, does the audiobook play the little Halloween jingle?
That's a good question. You know what? It better. If it doesn't, points off. If it doesn't, points. I retract my points.
Well, just based on the merits of the jingle by itself and the downer ending, I'm going to put this one in C tier. Because yeah, it's a good movie on its own, pretty solid, but it's still, it did kind of let a bunch of people down with the lack of Michael Myers, and you kind of don't want to see the bad ending sometimes, but still, I admire their chutzpah for that kind of ending in the writing, and yeah.
I like that you're going out on a limb of sometimes you don't want to see dead children. I mean, I know I might make some people mad with that hot take, but
I mean, especially world events right now, I kind of don't want to see dead children.
well, yeah. And speaking
Anyway.
of children and music that they may or may not enjoy, my number 19, Nightmare Before Christmas. Classic. You had some thoughts?
No. Hot Topic called. They want their movie back.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I can't wait to see what your next choice is.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It tends to be a little over marketed, but it's still a good movie.
Here's the thing about Nightmare Before Christmas. For a long time, I had Hocus Pocus on my list as probably one of the best family-friendly Halloween movies. And then Disney got greedy and decided to make that a franchise. And Nightmare Before Christmas is one of the lone, still standing, one and done gateway horror family-friendly movies.
For now.
Plus, for now, well, if they haven't made one by now, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. Money talks, but for now, they're still on that list.
Which is a nice list to be on, especially considering Disney sequels nowadays.
Yeah. Plus, it's Halloween and it's a Christmas movie. You can play it either time of year, and so I give it bonus points for that. And the music is pretty catchy, as is usually the case with Disney.
Well, and plus, written by Danny Elfman, you can never go wrong with him.
Absolutely, he is just great.
Yeah.
And of course, it does feature the late great Paul Reubens.
It does, yes.
Based on pure love for Paul Reubens, I would put it in B tier, but if I'm being honest with myself, C tier, because it is a great family-friendly gateway movie, but I tend to prefer my horror. So, props for what you are. I can watch you every year, but you're not the first thing I watch ever. I'm gonna put you in the C's for Christmas.
I mean, it'll be the first thing the Hot Topic puts out every year once they reach August, but yeah.
Yes.
And if I may, if you watch this during Thanksgiving, does that count as neutral territory between Halloween and Christmas?
I suppose you could do that if you wanted to appease both sides, but
yeah.
But just watch it twice a year. It's fun. You're paying all that money for Disney Plus. Get
That's
the
true.
most value out of it.
That is very true. Yeah.
Hey, take that $25 you saved on X-Men figures. Just get Disney Plus for a couple months.
I mean, if I have to, I guess.
Yeah.
Granted, they're going to be up on their prices again, so that $25 might just be how much it costs per month, like within by the next year or something like that. But you never know.
Did they announce that they're upping it again? That's terrible.
I think they did. I think it's up to like 13 or something like that, or 14.
Oh, I think that's. I thought that was for like the bundle package with Hulu and something else.
I might be mistaken.
I hope that's the case anyway, because that's quite a jump. If not,
yeah,
inflation ain't that bad, especially not for Disney. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong about that. And speaking of things you're wrong about, what's your number 18?
Creep Show.
Okay, you're not wrong about that. Leslie Nielsen's great.
Leslie Nielsen, directed by George Romero and Stephen King, written by Stephen King. Even features a role by Stephen King. I mean, it's probably hands down like maybe the best horror anthology movie ever, in my opinion.
It's definitely up there. I don't know. Yeah. VHS fans might want to fight you on that one.
That'll be a fight I gladly welcome. I'm ready for fisticuffs over that one. Like, you don't forget any of these stories or the segments. Like,
which one was your favorite?
The roaches. The one at the very end where the old guy who looks like Larry Fine from the Three Stooges, getting just attacked and infested by cockroaches inside of his like little hermetically sealed penthouse, and then like there's a point where he's freaking out, and there's this lady who's like disgruntled like ex-employee saying that she curses him and stuff like that over the loudspeaker, and then he sees like his bed wriggling, his bed covers, and you know they're going to be in there, and then like the cacophony of her cursing him out, and he throws open the covers and it's just covered in roaches, like hundreds and thousands of roaches, and he just jumps back in horror, and it's the greatest like freeze frame shot ever of his head, and behind him is like one of those weird little comic book panel splash things, and then around him entirely is all these little illustrated cockroaches, like a comic book panel. It's like one of the best shots in the entire movie. Standout scene for me. One second.
Yeah.
How much longer?
That is pretty great. That is pretty solid. Oh,
sorry. Small interruption.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We good?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Everything about that movie you don't forget. And I grew up with that movie, actually. It was like me and my sisters would kind of sneak watch that movie on the VHS. We're all kind of doing like a little sleep out in the living room, watching the TV. It just brings back a lot of great memories just on that alone. It was actually kind of one of my gateway horror movies. So I got a lot of personal heart for it.
It is always nice when you have that personal attachment to it. That always moves things up a few rankings, a few notches in your rankings there.
Yeah. So.
Well, my number 8.
Well, I actually didn't place it yet. So for that one, I would actually place that in A tier for me.
Understandable, yeah.
Yep. And for you?
For my number 18, can't go wrong with this classic, Psycho.
Oh, there you go.
Not only was it ahead of its time with the whole Norman Bates reveal, the whole mother, the cross-dressing stuff, it was the first movie to show a toilet flushing. It was one of the first horror movies, at least one of, maybe the first, I don't know, but it had that great fake out where you assume who the final girl is, and then she dies in the shower.
Yeah. Two big firsts.
And definitely some big firsts, yeah. I mean, that twist was so great that Scream copied it years later, and arguably did it better and faster, but still copied it, still influenced by it. And I'd also like to shout out, everybody knows Black and White Psycho, yeah, sure, horror classic, but underrated as a franchise as a whole as well. Psychos 2 and 3 are a perfectly good time. Psycho 4, the budget's a little smaller. They mess with the backstory canon a little bit.
Didn't that one basically just go into slasher movie territory? It's just like a straight slasher?
3 was basically slasher 80s territory. 4, a little bit of that, but they try to explain some of the origin and the history, and they do give it an ending. It has a satisfying ending for the Norman character, with room for another sequel that they never made. But it does end the story, so, for that reason, I'm going to put it as in the A tier, not just for the horror classic, but for the franchise overall. And I would definitely recommend you guys check out those colorized Psycho sequels.
I would definitely say A tier as
perfectly
well,
good.
because it did pretty much set the blueprint for a lot of horror movies too.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
Yeah. Oh wait, you stuck there? Oh, where are you? Yeah, H did. Okay, yeah, stuck there. Okay. So now we're on to number 17. And for me, I gotta go with a Child's Play movie. But not the first one. For me, my personal favorite is going to be Child's Play 2. Because that one just felt like Mr. Charles Lee Ray at his chuckiest. Like, it didn't get too ridiculous, but it was still set in pretty serious tone. And had some pretty great kills in there, too. And just the overall, the mood and the soundtrack are probably like one of the best ones out of the whole series.
Great soundtrack. The yardstick kill was great.
Yes.
It definitely recaps the story of one and ups the ante in terms of the budget and the kills and just everything.
I would say my favorite kill out of that one would be the maintenance worker in the toy factory. He's kind of fixing the machine, like plugs eyeballs into the dolls, and finishes fixing. He's on like a little conveyor belt, and then Chucky out of nowhere just slashes him in the face, knocks him back down, and then he's stuck in the compartment with the eyeballs, and it just plunks, like just staples him just right into his skull and kills him like that. And you get that lovely little parting shot of his dead face with the eyeballs, with blood coming from underneath them, and it's like seriously one of the most friggin' freakiest visuals I ever got. And I saw that when I was like, I think 9, on the USA Network, so it was a censored version, and that still messed me up.
Honestly, the censored version, the TV version of Child's Play 2, that's still a pretty great version. Actually,
it is, yeah.
I like both of them, and somebody needs to. I'm sure someone unofficially has. I would love to get a cut together version of both of those, because they're both fun to watch. It is a lot of people's favorite Child's Play sequel, and including mine. I think it's pretty much between that one and Bride as people's favorite sequel. They go neck and neck for it,
Yeah.
and deservedly so.
Another thing too. First of all, the ending theme song is awesome because they got that creepy little kitty-esque like pipes playing as they're leaving the factory and all that.
They kind of remixed that for the TV series. They know what the best Chucky theme is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And the main theme, I found out later, was kind of reused and sampled for this one rapper from my area named Kung Fu Vampire. And he does a really good song with it called The Dreamer. And I didn't know where the beat sample came from, but I could place it. And it wasn't until I actually re-listened to the Chucky or the Child's Play 2 soundtrack, and I heard the main, I think it was the main theme for it. And I'm thinking, oh crap, that's from fucking the Kung Fu Vampire song. He freaking sampled Chucky. That's awesome. And so that also kind of holds a little bit love in my heart for it too, because that song, "The Dreamer" by Kung Fu Vampire, great banger song, and just sampled from a banger soundtrack. So
that's pretty great.
It is.
Yeah.
For that one, I am going to give it a. Let's go with B tier, because as good as it is, I feel like there could have been a few more kills in it. It did feel kind of condensed.
I think B is fair, especially because as great as it is the second one. And although some sequels can surpass the originals, I don't necessarily know if this is one of them. You gotta pay homage to the originals, you know?
Yeah, very true. And it's only because it was the sequel to the first one do I put it in B tier. If it was, the same, mold break. It was kind of the same. The mold breaking, sense that the first one had, it would definitely be A tier.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
what
my
do you got?
number 17. My number 17, we got The Summer of Massacre.
The Summer of Massacre, and I don't think
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that one myself.
Yeah, that one's a little bit more on the indie side, but they do have a Guinness World Record. Here's the thing, okay?
Hmm.
If you're the kind of horror fan that is all about the kills in your horror movie, you gotta have a lot of kills, you gotta have a good body count, then this is the movie for you. It is the second highest body count in a slasher film. It holds that record. 155 and more if you count certain other things.
That's a
If you
lot.
count the ending of the movie. Yeah, even more if you count the ending of the movie. You don't actually see the kills, but it's implied they're doing some more killing.
Hmm.
And it's another horror trilogy which ties together, which is always nice. Now, at one point it was the highest body count in a slasher movie, but that was broken by Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
A great movie, by the way.
Yes,
I believe that was
great
from the
movie.
guys who did 5-second films.
Yes, that's them. That's the
Nice.
first. That was one of my first exposures to them, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Patton Oswalt's great in that one.
Oh, that's good to know.
But yeah, Summer of Massacre. A lot of kills, as you might expect.
Hmm.
Good anthology that ties together better than I thought it would by the end. I do take a few points off because the acting could be, well, a lot better in some places.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and, higher body count doesn't always necessarily reflect quality, but, you know, if you set that kind of record, you gotta be on a list somewhere, right?
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and put that at the D tier, just because of the acting and the anthology. The way Dude Bro Party Massacre handled it, where the deaths were all due to one person, I think that's what you want in a slasher film. You want one person or whatever the killer antagonist is. You want them wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
You don't want all this. You don't want all this anthology. Well, so and so killed this many, but so and so killed that many. So how do we count that? Little points off for that too.
Okay. Good choice.
So yeah, D tier for that one. Yeah.
So, what number are we on?
16.
There we go. Okay, this one is a very big personal favorite of mine. Not necessarily, I would say, one that is Halloween vibed, but I'm just a big fan of it, and it's just a great practical effects and squibs friendly, heavy, gory movie. Tokyo Gore Police. It's probably one of the best indie Asian splatter fests I've ever seen in my entire life, and there's a lot of good ones out there. This one, I think, kind of introduced me to that whole genre. It's exactly what it says on the cover, like a police force in a different futuristic setting. There's like a weird mutant virus going around turning people into like gory machine man mutations, and it's like there's like a ton of just fake blood and body parts flying all over the place, and like human dummies getting blown up, and it's really just a work of art as far as special effects and gore effects go, and it really just left a good impression on me for just the love you can feel put into the production as far as the special effects goes. Not much on story though, that's sadly the thing, but I would definitely say if you're a fan of the Mortal Kombat series and fatalities and all that, this one definitely feels like a pretty good love letter to that, and to movies like The Thing and Tetsuo the Iron Man, which was another, probably I would say one of the first real classic Japanese splatterfest movies. So, and yeah, That one, I would say, sadly though, I would put it in D tier, just because it's just got a really flat story to it, and like I said, the gore effects are amazing, and like super awesome, but doesn't really have much else going for it. Sadly, still a great movie to watch though, especially if you're a gore hound.
Well, speaking of gore, number 16, Hellraiser. That's my number 16.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. One of the all-time greats, Doug Bradley. He's awesome, and this is another series that has books, so y'all can spice up your Halloween that way.
Yep.
Y'all
written by Clive Barker, who also directed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Google. Yes. Did you look up Blackula's name while you're at it?
I did not, but I actually saw a copy of the Hellborn Heart earlier this year. Actually, no, earlier this month, at Borders, because they had them all, like all the horror books on display for Halloween. So.
Oh, that's cool. Did you pick that up?
I did not have the money, unfortunately. Otherwise, I definitely would have snatched it up. So.
Yeah, Hellraiser, great franchise. Doug Bradley, great actor. He is right up there with the great talking slashers. He's right up there with Robert Englund. The way he tells you what he's going to do to you in that smooth British voice, and then he does it.
Oh, yeah.
It's wonderful. Great series, great franchise overall, for the most part. Great kill count for the most part. And the themes of good and evil and temptation, the religious stuff, it's great. It's just great.
It just has such wonderful sights to show you.
Yes, it certainly does. A lot of great sights. Yeah, I think it's underrated, honestly, which sounds insane, possibly, because of how many sequels it does have. But I don't see it talked about enough, and I think more people should check it out this Halloween. I think they'll appreciate it. That first one and definitely that third one, those are pretty great. And it eventually does go to space in the future, so they can have more canonical sequels between now and when it ends in the futuristic timeline. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
There's even one with Nerd's favorite Superman, Henry Cavill. He's in, I believe it was the 8th one.
Really?
Where it's like video game based. Yeah, he's in one of those.
I actually have that one in the shelf. I might give that one a look.
Yeah, you should.
Nice. Yeah. So it's probably silly to ask, where on the list would you put it?
I mean, Hellraiser, you gotta go A tier for that.
Not S tier?
Whatever the top tier is, he's one of the best.
Like the absolute top? Well, that would be S tier. Yeah.
Absolute top tier, yeah.
Yes.
Nice. He's not mid, bro. He's peak. All right.
He is nowhere near mid at all.
Yeah.
Because he's friggin' Pinhead.
Yes.
And he ain't Zippy.
The squirrel, Slappy's nephew?
No, that's Skippy.
Oh, that's right. Well, Zippy was a squirrel too. Which one was Zippy?
No, Zippy was just the Pinhead.
I thought there was a cartoon squirrel named Zippy. I could swear there was.
Not that I've seen.
But maybe I'm misremembering.
Oh.
Comment down below if you know who Zippy the squirrel is.
Indeed. In the meantime, let's get to number 15. For mine, I've got The Blob, 1988.
You're breaking up.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, yeah.
The Blob, 1988?
The Blob, 1988 remake. Written by Frank Darabont, also, which is a nice little plus. Who was the guy who directed The Mist and was producer for the first couple seasons of Walking Dead.
Well, bonus points for that, for sure.
Right. And
now the Blob 88 is a remake.
Yeah, the original one was from like the 60s, or I think the 50s or 60s, starring Steve McQueen. This one, though, blows that one out of the park. Blows it out of the water, everything. It like takes so many concepts and just turns it on its head. It even goes the psycho route, and like one of the characters that you think is going to be the main character immediately gets killed off as soon as the blob hits the scene, in like the worst way possible. And again, great practical effects. and great gore in this one. And some pretty good performances by some young talent, like a young Kevin Dillon. He's also in that. And this was actually probably the first horror movie that really scared the crap out of me as a kid. And to this day, I'm still kind of hesitant about watching it, just because it kind of scarred me that much about the gore and all the kills. Like I was always freaking out, like, the blob gonna come out of the toilet? It's gonna come out of the sink? It's just gonna like digest me? It's just.
We can only hope.
Oh, gee, thanks. But that's another thing too about the blob. Like the way it kills you, you're literally being digested. Like people can watch you being dissolved and digested inside the blob. And that's actually how the blob gets redder and redder as the movie progresses, because of all the blood from all the people that it ate, which I thought was a nice little touch.
That is pretty cool. Way to symbolize the growing strength.
Yeah. And so for this one, I'm going to give it a solid A.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, for me, speaking of the 80s, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh.
Yes. Robert Englund, great performance. Heather Langenkamp, great performance. Great original idea back in the day. You know,
absolutely, yeah.
In the years that preceded this, it was really all about the quiet slasher. You know, Leatherface didn't talk. Granted, his family did, but he didn't. You know, there wasn't a lot of talking slashers. We were really headed that way. Michael didn't talk. And then here comes Freddy Krueger, and he shows that, no, these slashers, they can have some personality. They can have some... And yeah, I know there was some phone-based ones before it and stuff like that, When a Stranger Calls, Black Christmas, but Robert Englund really showed the style, and actually was one of the first ones that really made you root for the bad guy eventually. Freddy Krueger, eventually, he was popular. He was on MTV. He was the one that you paid to see. He had a hotline, for goodness sake.
Yep. And a couple of albums of rap songs, too.
A bunch of stuff, yeah. He ruled the world for a while there in the 80s.
And he actually slapped a Will Smith long before Will Smith did any slapping. With the Nightmare on My Street.
And it all started with this movie right here. Not to mention the fact that, you know, everybody sleeps. That's what's terrifying about Freddy. Everyone sleeps. And honestly, this franchise, as many sequels as it's had, it should have more. There is so much you can do with sleep themes and the dream world and nightmare sequences. This thing still, despite getting made every few years, has all kinds of potential to tell great stories. And I can't wait to see the next one.
Pretty much all the movies have been bestsellers, haven't they? It's pretty much been a horror juggernaut ever since it first came out.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a reason they keep making more. Even after, you know, the least successful one, it's still warranted enough to keep coming back, for goodness sake.
Yeah. And
there's still so much you can do with it. Even Robert Englund admitted that 5 sucks, but, you know, now they just keep going.
Yeah. So it's probably no argument we're going to put this in S tier.
Top tier for sure.
Absolutely, yes. So, okay.
And kids, make sure you watch that 84 one, that Robert Englund goodness. Yeah. Don't go with that Jake Earl Haley.
I mean, Earl Haley himself was a good performance, it's just the writing.
Yeah, the writing and the CGI, they didn't have that as good as they have it now.
Yeah. So for 14, I'm going to go with Evil Dead, but not the original, the 2013 version. I mean, as good as the original Evil Dead is, it wasn't one that I grew up with, admittedly. But when I saw this one, it definitely sealed the deal for me as far as good horror remakes go, or reboots. It pretty much hit all the marks. Like, it felt pretty flawless as far as, you know, a good conventional horror movie goes.
It was one of the better remakes in an
Yeah.
era when not all the in an era when everything was being remade and not everything was great. They definitely did a good job on that. Now, where do you rank that as far as against Evil Dead 2? Because that's a lot of people's favorite Evil Dead out of the originals.
Funny enough, I barely ever rank the original Evil Dead movies. I actually rank compared to Army of Darkness because that was my first Evil Dead movie I ever saw. However, just because on the merits alone of the production and the writing and just how good this one was, I would definitely say it is A tier. Probably going to have a lot of people disagree with me, but this is my tier. So, it's my tier, and I'm second to it.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Good list, good list. All right, my number 14, another old school one, Dead of Night.
Ooh.
1945. This is an older one, but
Oldie but goldie.
Yeah, oldie but a goodie. Absolutely, yeah. This is the first Evil Doll movie before Chucky, before Puppet Master, before all of them, and it's at least one of the first horror anthologies. I don't know if it's the first, but I mean, 1945. It's definitely got to be at least one of the first.
I would say probably one of the first, yeah.
Absolutely. And this movie was hard to get made back in the day. Horror films were actually banned from production in Britain during World War II. So
pretty ironic considering how much of a great horror output they had afterwards.
Yeah, so they had to fight for this one. But yeah, Hugo the Dummy, the first Evil Doll, you gotta pay respect to your horror history,
Definitely.
Now, having said that, because it's an older movie and because, just because you're the first to do something, they say to succeed, you either got to be the first or the best at something. And while this one was the first, it's not necessarily the best. I'm going to go ahead and drop this one. Let's go ahead and put that in the mid. Let's put that in the whatever the C rank tier is.
That'll be right there.
It's in that middle.
Yep.
In that middle somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one I got for number 13 is probably not one too many people are familiar with. However, the legacy that it inspired is definitely something on everybody's tongue. Sweet Home from Japan, which was a haunted house horror movie back in the day, and it also had inspired an NES video game for the Nintendo, and it was also the direct inspiration for the Resident Evil series. Didn't necessarily have like the stars members or the zombies, but it definitely had the team of specialists trapped inside of a mansion type of thing going on.
Now, are you watching it in like the original Japanese, or are you watching it like dubbed, subtitled?
Well, it's only available in Japanese and with subtitles. I don't think they've done a dub yet, but it's still it's a nice little chunk of history, and it definitely suits Halloween, being a haunted house type stuff like that. Having said that, however, it did inspire Resident Evil, but I wouldn't say it's at the same level as Resident Evil. And for that, and just for how obscure it's been, largely ignored, sadly, I would have to say it's kind of on D tier. But crosses over a little bit into C tier. Another one of those types.
Well, for my number 13, I'm going to go ahead. Speaking of lasting legacies, my number 13 is Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters movie, dude. This is one of those movies that just nobody hates. It's right up there with like Princess Bride.
I'm already putting it up an S. We're not going to even have an argument on that one.
Yeah. No one loathes or despises this movie. They just don't. I know people that will complain about each and every one of the sequels, possibly, but not this one. It's funny. It's even funnier as an adult. It's just scary enough for its rating, and it's another great gateway horror movie.
It is. And funny enough, this was also on my tier list. So it was actually going to be my number 2. My number 2 Halloween movie. Yeah. So we both already agree it's S tier. So.
Oh yeah. No question.
Yes.
Good. We're saving time already. We're saving valuable seconds already.
Excellent. Yes.
great gateway horror-ish movie. Great performances by the whole cast, and overall, pretty good franchise too. I
It
like me
was.
some Ghostbusters. I like me some Ghostbusters too. I like me some Afterlife.
Totally.
I I think Answer the Call wasn't as bad as people say, but still probably my least favorite. But
No comment.
Ghostbusters, yeah, Ghostbusters haven't had that absolutely like terrible movie yet. I know some will say that that is Answer the Call, but like, nah, it just was what it was.
Yeah.
They haven't had their Halloween Resurrection, and based on the way Afterlife ends, I'm really excited for the future of the franchise. They could go in a bunch of different directions now, and it could be a great vehicle for a lot of comedians in an era when we don't get enough comedy. So please give me all the Ghostbusters going forward. I'd really appreciate it.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Okay, now jumping down to number 14, is it? Or is it 13?
Oh, we're even better. We're number 12 now.
Oh,
We're
dang.
burning. Yeah, we're burning through them.
Nice. Okay, well, I'm going to make this one short and sweet because I am starting to get pressed for time. Silent Hill. A lot of people give that movie some flack. I'd say it's one of the better video game adaptations. I would definitely put it in B tier. It definitely captures the mood of the games and sticks with a lot of the original soundtrack from the games too. And never go wrong with my bullet Pyramid Head. And yeah, definitely holds up a lot better than the first Resident Evil movie. I'll just say that. And that's what I got.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. Well, my number 12, Wishmaster, another underrated horror movie that deserves
Ooh.
to be talked about. That deserves to be talked about among the other slashers. Andrew Divoff is great in these. They should never have replaced him, and I hope he gets to do more of these. And unlike a lot of horror franchises, do actually see the evil Jinn win at some point. I won't say in which one so as not to spoil that one, but overall a great franchise. Everybody makes wishes. Jinns going wrong, evil genies. What's
Yep.
not to love there,
Pretty good trope right there. So where would you place it?
Absolutely. You can make a million movies out of it.
Right?
I'm gonna go ahead and put that in that second tier, that B second class tier.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice done. Now going to number 11, I'm going to go ahead and straight up just pull out Jacob's Ladder. Put that in the A tier. Because that one actually was one of the movies that mainly inspired Silent Hill. And it's just an overall great vibe, thriller. You don't know what's going on until the very end. And if I'll be honest, it's actually one of my comfort movies that I watch all the time. If I'm like having a slow day or I'm doing laundry, I'm just kind of feeling in that mood while I'm drawing. I'm going to pop this baby in and just let it run. It's just such a classic. More people need to seriously check it out. It's so underappreciated. So,
My number 11, Friday the 13th. What's not to love there? Well, I'll tell you. Again, you gotta pay respect to the one that started it all, but let's be honest, Jason's the brand, he's the franchise, and it came a little bit later.
yep.
This franchise, though, shouldn't have became what it became. It had such a simple start of people at a camp getting killed. If you go watch the original Friday the 13th trailer, it's insane that this movie succeeded as well as it has, became what it's became. That trailer basically tells you who's gonna die and what order. It is ridiculous that they made that trailer, and now it's this huge franchise about to be 13 movies, plus a second TV series, plus whatever else they do with it.
It is a legacy.
I mean, yeah. Mrs. Voorhees, great female killer, not enough of those in the horror world. I definitely think she didn't get enough attention because Jason kind of overshadowed her. And I would definitely recommend this movie. I know, day, and if I really wanted to, just for the joke, I should have made this number 13 instead of 11, but I gotta be honest with myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
So where are we ranking this puppy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. Let's put that in the C tier because
C tier? Really?
Yeah. C, yeah. Well, yeah, the third tier, whatever the third one is, middle. Because, just because, as great as it is, as much as I love it,
we got 5 tiers: S, A, B, C, D. Are you saying one in B or C?
I'm gonna put that in B. Yeah.
Okay, that's more like it. That feels more appropriate.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely in B. Mrs. Voorhees, great, but yeah, let's be real. We love watching Jason do some stuff.
Absolutely.
We love watching him kill some people.
He's good at it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So moving into the top 10. I'm gonna start getting short and sweet with these because if they're in the top 10, you all know why they're in the top 10. Since we already got Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm gonna go with probably the best bookend for that series, and go with Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and putting that one in the B section.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was a really good original spin on Freddy as a character, and it just had a really good, nice, updated look for him. Just kind of sometimes it felt a little too meta, way before they started doing meta, but it was still really good in how they performed it.
It was a nice excuse to bring back Heather Langenkamp and to bring Freddy back to the big screen. I was actually never a fan of that one growing up. Like, I get what they were going for, but it's very much the prototype of Scream, and well, Scream did it better.
Yeah.
A few years later. But it is what it is, and I know people argue it's not canon anyway. I do wish for that interpretation of Freddy, I wish we could have gotten a little more different interpretation. Like, they tell you he's different than Freddy, but when you see him, he's still just being Freddy.
Pretty much he's still Freddy, even though he's a demon impersonating Freddy, but yeah.
Right, so I wish we could have gotten more demon, less Freddy, because if you're going to be different, be different.
Yeah.
But I get it. It was their 7th movie. You can't not have Freddy be Freddy at that point.
Absolutely.
My number 10, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh, yeah, now we're talking.
This franchise is almost 50 years old, and they've done so much with this. It has way too many, and I say this complimentarily, it has way too many timelines and sequels and remakes, and it has a longer legacy and a longer franchise should have for this very basic low-budget movie about guys from Texas with a chainsaw based on a killer. Based on a real-life killer.
Inspiration's not directly based on anything, but just took inspiration from guys like Ed Gein and stuff like that. Everybody keeps forgetting to point that out. It's not actually directly based on a true story. Inspired by true stories.
Well, all those movies say based on a true story.
Yeah,
they use that very liberally.
That's how the marketing goes.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, horror classic. Amazing horror franchise for what it is. It's kind of surprising that it's lasted this long and will continue to last long. Almost 50 years old now. So guys, go check out that original Texas Chainsaw. It's surprisingly good. You'll have a good time.
So we do an A or S for this one?
Let's do S for that one. It's right. The OG. You gotta pay respect to the OG.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to Wes Craven's New Nightmare being kind of basically Wes Craven's proto-Scream, my number 9, I'm going to have to go with Scream. Definitely, I would actually say that's S tier, the first one. Because it just totally revitalized the genre of it. And really just, everything felt fresh and original. And you weren't sure what was going to happen. And then everything just came together perfectly. Great cast, great writing. Great memorable new villain when he debuted, Ghostface. So, and of course, the whole selling you thinking, well, Drew Barrymore's going to be the main character. No, she gets killed off in the first 10 minutes. Yeah, it's classic.
One of the best openings in horror, still holds up. Great soundtrack as well. Great performances from everybody. Roger L. Jackson becoming a horror icon, like you said, for sure. Actually, Scream was my number 8. Mine was my number 8, so no argument for me here. S tier for sure.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So what's your number 9 then?
But for my number 9, Night of the Living Dead. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When you think zombies, you think Night of the Living Dead or The Walking Dead. But come on, if you're old school, George Romero, Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. Come
on, it's great. It's just great. And, this movie and its sequels were so influential. I mean, the whole zombies eating brains things comes from this series. The Of the Dead title in a zombie movie. They continue to use that today. Zack Snyder, Nerd Icon, used Of the Dead to sell his zombie movie. I mean, you gotta love Romero. You gotta love what he did with it. You gotta love the subtle, and more artists today could learn from this, the subtle commentary, social commentary on consumerism and things of that nature.
It was
He
pretty much
did it
also,
right.
I would say it's possible, pretty much the ground foundation laid out for modern horror.
Yeah, pretty much. Definitely for zombies. I mean,
Yeah.
it set the stage.
So S tier?
You gotta love it. S tier, yeah. Go.
No
Kids,
argument
go
at all.
watch some Night
Yep.
of the Living Dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 8, 2017 version of It by Stephen King. Probably one of the best adaptations, not remake, because the first It was a made-for-TV miniseries. Everybody keeps forgetting that. This one was the first official theatrical movie adaptation of the book. And for all the stuff that omitted from the book, it added a lot better stuff in its place. And
Also,
Bill
a very good,
Skarsgård, Pennywise.
different interpretation.
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise is definitely a modern classic.
Yeah, he did it great. Very much a different interpretation, very good interpretation of the Pennywise character.
Yeah.
And at one point, highest, if you count Pennywise as a slasher, highest slasher movie ever.
Mm-hmm.
Record was broken by Michael Myers the next year, but still.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
And great cast overall, and great soundtrack, and great. I like that they took it into the 80s instead of keeping it in the 50s, so it had a better vibe for a lot of more younger audiences like myself to connect with.
They did kind of, at a certain point, beat you over the head a little too much with the 80s.
A little too much, but you know, I can't fault them too much on that. But that's only why. That's probably one of the only reasons why it's an A tier, not S tier, for me.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it is part 1 of 2, so.
Yep.
You know, you do lose a little bit of that when you have to come back to see how it really ends.
Yeah.
So. Still great though. Great movie.
It is.
Funny enough, my number 7, It the miniseries.
Perfect.
Cue the Tim Curry laugh.
Entering the Tim Curry laugh zone. And where are we gonna
like your?
No, go ahead.
If you like your horror long, this is the one for you. It's about 3 hours. It's a fun time. Different interpretation of Pennywise. If you're sick of the whole Bill Skarsgård memes, you can go check this one out. Although this one has some pretty tired memes as well. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Very true, and it does have a little bit of a. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, good cast, you know, good, as good of an adaptation as they could get for the time. Very controversial material in there that they managed to get on TV. You got John Ritter in there, may he rest in peace.
Yep.
You got that iconic "Kiss Me Fat Boy" line in there that they made famous.
Which I love that they brought back into the remakes or the sequel of Chapter 2.
That was a great homage, yeah.
Yes.
And bonus points, although it is a miniseries, you can watch it as a movie. If you buy it digitally or if you bought the DVD of it, it is edited and just plays as a straight up long movie. So that's nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Having said that, where are we going to place it?
You know what? Let's put the Pennywise brothers together. Same tier you put your It in.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
They should be side by side. It just looks right.
We're going to spice it up with a little curry.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Thank you. Okay, so, I appear to be missing an entry.
Oh no, you're good. Because my are you talking about my? Because my 8 was Scream. Did we not rank that one?
We did, but I am missing. Where is it? Hold up. Come on, where are you, little bastard? Well, I had Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. But it appears to be not in my folder. Let me double check real quick.
Technical difficulty.
Yes, there it is. Cool.
There we go.
Yes. And I actually hold this one above all the other Resident Evil movies because it feels as close to the games as possible, and it also has the bonus of having that really hardcore early 80s, late 70s John Carpenter vibe, along with the music. The musical score is great. Got a great mood. I don't care what anybody says. Seriously, I enjoy this one so much in the theaters. So that's why I'm going to spoil it like a child and put it in the A tier. Because I know it's going to make a bunch of horror nuts mad that I did that. I don't care. Because it's my list. And it's the movie I love. And y'all can't do nothing about that.
Own what you love, yeah.
Exactly.
Opinions can't be wrong. Only facts can be wrong. So There you go. And speaking of opinions, number 6 for me, The Invisible Man.
Never saw it.
This dude. This dude has one of the highest kill counts in horror, okay? 122 in the original, 133 if you include the 2020 remake, all right?
Cool.
And doing a movie with an invisible antagonist, I mean, that's always difficult, both from an entertainment standpoint and from a financial standpoint, because let's be honest, a lot of horror, hey, we want to sell some toys, you know?
Yeah.
We got to have a killer that people can see and dress up as at Halloween and stuff. But Invisible Man, it achieves it, man. It's one of those great older horror movies, and what's scarier than something you can't see, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It adapts very well to the screen. It holds up. He's pushing people off cliffs all the time. And the 2020 remake, also one of the best 2020 movies, which granted there weren't a lot of them, but yeah, it holds up.
Definitely still freaks me out.
It's
definitely one of the better horror remakes too.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's put that in the mid tier though, because if I'm being honest, it is an older movie. Other slashers, they did it better, you know. A little more exciting, a little more colorful, literally and figuratively in the years that followed that original.
So this is the remake from 2020, right?
No, I'm gonna count that original.
Oh. Okay.
I throw in the 2020 remake anecdotally.
Okay.
But, you know.
So then, where would you place B or C? If we're going for middle.
I'm gonna put that in C. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. We're now officially counting out omissions from coinciding entries. Number 6, for me, is going to be Addams Family Values. That one I'll place in A tier. Great comedy. Probably some of the best writing for an Addams Family movie ever. Honestly, I would say the best Addams Family movie, or outside of the original sitcom, the best property. All the jokes were just great. Hilarious, great casting, memorable casting, and yeah, that's really all I got. I will never not watch this movie and not quote it while I'm watching it.
Are they made from real Girl Scouts?
That's actually the first movie, but this one also has equally great quotes.
Yes, great movie. Well, my number 5, The Exorcist. It broke all the rules back. Yes, it broke all the rules back in the 70s, man. The language, the anti-religious stuff, the imagery, the stuff about what your mother may or may not be doing in hell.
Your father's in here with those carrots.
Yes. Linda Blair. I mean, awesome movie.
Satan was in the film reels.
That second one will never live up. Nothing in the new trilogy is going to live up to that original.
I'd say the only one that lives up to the I would say the only one that really lives up to the first one is the third one.
Yep, the third one was great. Everyone loves that one. And the TV series from a few years ago on Fox was pretty good too.
Totally.
Yeah.
And again, without argument, S tier, I'm guessing?
S tier, yeah.
Nice.
million Exorcist movies since it, but this is The Exorcist. And
Yeah.
even The Exorcist sequels can't top The Exorcist. You're not gonna. Don't try.
Absolutely. All right, in the top 5. The final 5. This one, I doubt needs much introduction or explanation. Alien.
Sci-fi movie, arguably, but yeah, I mean, it's in the horror pack of Mortal Kombat, so...
It is a horror movie
And what's-
set in space. It has been classified as a slasher set in space, and was one of my childhood favorites.
There you go.
Yep. This one set the bar. It didn't just set the bar, it is the bar.
Not much scarier than when you're in space and no one can help you, and here comes a big old alien doing alien stuff.
With a big dong-shaped head with a little mouth that comes out of his regular mouth, too. So,
Nothing. That's not going to end well for anybody. You just know from looking at it.
oh, yeah. Chest
And
burster
speaking of
scene,
not ending,
you never not
Mhm.
remember the chest burster scene.
Oh yeah, parodied 100 times, even on Roseanne.
Yep,
So good.
absolutely. All right, we're coming in hot and fast now. What do we got for yours?
Number 4, Carrie, that original Carrie.
R.I.P. Piper
You
Laurie.
gotta love it. R.I.P. Yes. Great movie. Sadly, still relevant today. You know, don't bully kids in school. This is what will happen. You know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason they keep remaking it every few years. It's still relevant today, and
It's got a lot
that
of-
final scene, it's a bit of a slow burn, but that final scene is amazing.
Absolutely.
And even some of the remakes were pretty good. Yeah, you gotta love it. And again, it has that book bonus. So
It does, yeah.
go read the book. Go read the book. Go watch the movie. Go watch a bunch of the movies. They're all pretty much the same, but updated.
Cool.
And yeah, let's go S tier for that one.
Totally.
And one
'Cause-
of the women of horror. True, I gotta point that out. One of
That's
the
also
iconic
true,
women
yeah.
of horror. Not enough of them. So
Nice.
some people will call us woke for that, but I don't care. It's good to have a little diversity sometimes, you know?
Indeed.
You can only have a guy in a mask so many times. Give me Carrie telekinesis murders.
Moving on to my number 4. Bram Stoker's Dracula. B tier. I know it's in my top 4, but it's still got kind of like a weird vibe to it, going back and watching it. I mean, it does kind of feel like a fever dream or like some weird German expressionism, like YouTube video almost. Great acting though. I mean, except for, Keanu's British accent. Great casting, aside from Keanu's British accent. I mean, aside from Bela Lugosi, I don't think of any other person as Dracula except for Gary Oldman. And just, it's a wow movie. It definitely earned its, box office status when it came out. But it kind of lacks a little something, And some, and I do stress some of the effects do feel pretty dated. But that's all I got. Aside from
Fair
that,
enough, okay. That'll-
stellar movie.
yeah.
Yes. And I actually got to see the Dracula armor when I went to Francis Ford Coppola's Vineyard Winery. Took a tour of it.
That's pretty cool.
It was dope. And they also had the dress that I think that Lucy was in when they took her out in the mausoleum scene. But anyway. All right, top 3. What do we got?
So my number, yes, my number 3, Scooby-Doo. Now look,
Where are you?
he fights monsters and ghosts and things. He fights monsters and ghosts and things every week, and it doesn't matter if you're watching one of his many crossovers, if you're watching his Halloween special, if you're watching Zombie Island, if you're watching Witch's Ghost. There is decades of Halloween-esque content to pull from this thing.
Absolutely.
And you gotta love the dog and his gang, you know?
Zoinks, yo.
You can't you can't not watch some Scooby-Doo at Halloween time if you're into family-friendly content. If you're only into the R-rated stuff, maybe you skip it. But if not, have a good Scoobtober.
And if you're just
Now, it is a
an
little
animation enthusiast in general, too.
absolutely, yeah. Scooby-Doo is up there with like Batman and they've had and Simpsons. They've had all these crossovers at this point. They're iconic characters, and they ain't going anywhere. So
Cool.
but the monsters often aren't real, and the mysteries are often kind of basic. And like I said, it's kid-friendly if you're not into kid-friendly stuff. So for
And
that reason, let's put that in the middle.
right in the B?
Yeah.
Right in the B. Okay, well, sticking with the Scooby-Doo gang type of mentality here. Since we're kind of going through these, and I already put my number 2, which was Ghostbusters. My number 3 is an unadulterated, unappreciated 80s classic. Monster Squad. Probably what should have been the proper game plan for a Dark Universe shared universe. It probably is like one of the best movies ever for just fighting Dracula. And it's like the perfect fanfic almost.
It was a great way to incorporate all of those iconic characters in one movie, and
Yes.
It made perfect sense, and it's just great 80s fun.
And I will say, I gave props to Lugosi and Gary Oldman earlier for their Draculas. But for me, the prime best example of a Dracula would be this one, whose name I'm looking up right now. Was played by, where the hell is it? Duncan Rigger. Who's seriously like one of the scariest, most intimidating Dracula performances I've ever seen in my entire life. Like near the end, where they're having like the big fight out in the middle of town with all the monsters, he had like the best villain scene of all time, I think. Like they got the little girl, who's the little sister of the main kid, is she and creepy German guy, if you guys know who that is. They're trying to read the amulet. He's teaching her how to speak the incantation to, send all the monsters back. Dracula just friggin' appears out of nowhere, like 20 feet from them, just mad dogging them with like the best evil stare ever, with that blue lightning effect that had all the really good 80s fantasy movies had, just kind of going all over him. And he starts slowly walking towards her while she's still reciting the incantations. And a bunch of these cops are trying to stop him. And first one he backhands without even looking at. And it's the most awesome thing ever. And then more cops start coming at him. And he just takes him out like it's nothing. He snaps one's neck. He backhands another one, grabs another one, tosses him away. And he never breaks his eyesight on the little girl. It is like seriously the most badass villain walk I've ever seen in any movie. It is so good. It is like the standard for all like villain presences in any movie that I hold. I hold him as like the highest standard for it. Because he just played such a good fucking Dracula. So,
Awesome.
it was. Yes.
No arguments here.
Nice.
You're dead on.
Thank you.
Where'd you put that one?
That was in the A tier.
That's in the A. Okay,
It's
yeah.
an A.
No arguments
It
here.
would be S, but it was kind of short, and some of the monsters didn't get their proper due or full scenes. Like I wish they would have done more with the merman. He only got like one scene.
That's fair.
But that was about it.
Yeah,
it was a great design too. So
And it is a bit more. It is, yeah. Other than that, it is a little more comedic at times. If one's not into that, if you'd rather see all of your monsters doing monster stuff, you might lose some points on that one. But
Yeah.
all in all, great time.
all right, we're
Right,
coming
number
down
2.
coming down the main here.
Yes, number 2. Now I'm gonna get some hate for ranking this one so high, but I don't care because it's our list.
All right.
Leprechaun.
Well, fiddly. That goes
look.
to 3.
I love that you rhymed it. That's
Thank you.
very Leprechaun-esque. Yes.
Would you rank it?
Now,
Would you rank it in B or A? Or
I gotta be real. Let's put it in B.
okay.
Here's the thing, okay? You have to remember where horror was in 1993 when this movie came out.
Oh yeah.
All right. Freddy, Jason, Michael, Chucky, all of them were presumed dead. Scream was still 3 years away, and everybody else was pretty much just doing remakes or sequels of what worked in the 80s. The only two original horror icons, at least at the Hollywood level, that were holding us down during those lean 90s were Leprechaun and Candyman. And if you're asking me why I didn't put Candyman on the list, it's because I just have more fun watching Leprechaun. First Candyman, great, but those sequels, I'll take a Leprechaun sequel over a Candyman sequel. That's just my taste for it, you know?
Yeah, but
Warwick Davis.
Candyman is candy, and you want candy at Halloween, don't you?
Well, yeah, but he not the way he receives it.
Not the bees, not the bees.
Leprechaun's a fun time. Leprechaun's a fun time, and bonus points. He's small, so you can dress your kid up pretty easily, and he would be canon accurate size. So that helps too. Well,
I'm personally a
and I
fan
know
of I'm personally a fan of Leprechaun 3, but that's just me.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one of the best sequels. I love that one too.
Yes.
Yeah, all the sequels are almost all the sequels are pretty fun. I hated Origins, but who didn't hate Origins?
Very true. Sorry.
Anything without the great Warwick Davis, you're gonna have some big shoes to fill. No pun intended.
Aha.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, Leprechaun, that's why I ranked it that low, because it is a little goofy, and you could argue it's more of a St. Patrick's Day celebration. So
that too. Yes.
Not the best, but definitely not the worst.
Okay.
All right, and number one, this is the big one. Drum roll. What's your number one?
Number one for me for the essential Halloween viewing is Trick or Treat.
Yet another anthology. You're really digging your heels in on the horror anthology.
I'm a big fan of horror anthologies, and this one really you can't go wrong with. Literally called Trick or Treat for a Halloween movie, and it is definitely one of the top 5 horror anthologies. It's not gonna beat Creepshow, but it's still in the top 5. And having said that, I give it an A rank, but I don't give it an S rank. Only because, well, then that would mean it would by default, be better than Creepshow. But
I mean, arguably it's your number one, so it could be considered better than Creepshow. I don't know.
Okay, you know what? You're right. Yeah, screw it. It's S tier. Trick or Treat is S tier. Okay, I'm bending the rules here. My list, my rules.
So, our show, our rules.
That's right. And really, what more? I mean, if you haven't seen it, you definitely should see it. I waited too long to see it. I think I waited like 10 years after it came out to see it, and I really felt like a dick that I hadn't seen it sooner. So.
It is definitely one of those movies that, yeah, you've heard about it, but once you see it, most people, 99%, do tend to fall in love with it and go, oh wow, I should have watched this sooner. I love Sam. I love all this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, what do we got for number one? Number one?
My number one, it's a little obscure. You might not have heard of it. It's this little indie film called Halloween.
Hey! And are we really going to even try and argue this? It's just going right up there. To the front of the line.
Right in the top.
Front of the line.
I mean, yeah. You kind of have to, right? You kind of have to.
His name is on the list. He gets into the club no matter what.
Yes. He's the king. VIP pass. All day. Every October.
Pasco. Collect $100.
You gotta love it.
Yes.
Yes.
And there we have it.
Well, what can I say about it that hasn't already?
Exactly.
Yep.
It's friggin' Halloween, man. It's in the name. It's in the title.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd say we got a pretty good ranking here, guys.
I would definitely say that, yeah.
This is a pretty good list. I hope somebody out there will have discovered a new awesome horror thing to watch this year. And as I said before, comment down below, tell us your list. We'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. And with that, that brings our Halloween edition of Nerdle Soup to a close. This was an extra long one, too. Had a lot of fun doing this one.
So, yeah, you broke up there, but yeah, it brings our Halloween episode to a close. May everyone out there have a happy and safe Halloween. Be safe. Check your candy before you eat it. And we will catch you sometime soon, hopefully in November, for another exciting episode of Nerdle Soup.
Stay nerdy.